Hi, welcome to Manor Park. It's the preview of our sale this Friday here at the Northwest's only permanent classic car and motorcycle auction facility. And when I say permanent, I mean permanent. That means your bike, your car is kept here inside this heated, air-conditioned, secure building. It's not in a rickety old shed or like parked around the back of somewhere when you're not there. It's here. And this is where the auction takes place and will take place this coming Friday. I'll be here, but don't let that put you off. We've got about 100 bikes and scooters. Got everything. The one thing we have here is variety. Quality. Sorry. The one thing we have here is quality, but we also have variety. But let's start with, and the word classic is often used incorrectly, but this is a classic bike. This is a 1956 BSA DB D34 Gold Star, 500cc four-stroke single, the definitive road-going single. Part of a private collection. The bars have been it says corrected, converted to upright use. We do have the clip-ons if you want to put it back to the considerably less comfortable arrangement that would have thrilled young men back in the day. 1956, wow. This bike is nearly 70 years old. Good Lord, really? Wow. The estimate is £9,000 to £11,000 on the 1956 BSA Gold Star. And like I say, we do have the original parts to convert it back to as it left the factory in Small Heath, Birmingham, nearly 70 years ago. Wow. Moving swiftly on, if you'd like to come round here, Fraser. A Honda Dream 50. This is, this was previously owned by Colin Seeley. Many of you will know Colin Seeley because of the work that he did on frames. The Seeley frame, very distinctive with that crossbar, that cross tube there, the Seeley frame. I think he was a sidecar racer, wasn't he? Met him a couple of times. Nice bloke, bit of an operator. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. This used to be a Honda Dream 50. Honda built this bike to commemorate the 1962 RC10 single-cylinder racer, showing this fantastic 1960s style, even though this bike was made in the year 2000. It's unregistered, so it's probably done no miles at all. It's done 4.5 miles. And I would imagine most of those have been either parade miles or pushed around miles. So it's a brand new bike from 25 years ago that commemorates a bike from over 60 years ago. The frame was a diamond design, reinforced single front down tube bolting to the engine's crankcase. The top of the frame was a reinforced double tube under and over configuration, meeting a multi-tube box where the rider sits. It's a lovely, lovely thing, this is. And the estimate on this brand new, because it's a classic, it's 25 years old. Year 2000, it's amazing, isn't it? We're over 25 years from the millennium. The estimate, £5,500 to £7,000 on the Honda Dream 50. And like I say, that one was previously the property of Colin Seeley, who knew a good bike when he saw one, or when he built one. Round the corner, the Kawasaki Z250A. An easy project, it says here. So it's on a V-plate. It's a UK bike. Disc brake on the front there. Would that have been standard? Yeah, I would imagine it would back in 1979. Cast wheels, disc brakes. This was an advanced bike. Of course, Kawasaki proudly trumpeting their victory in the 1978 250cc Grand Prix World Champion. I'm going to take a guess, and I'm going to say that was Cork Ballington, the South African racer. I'm probably wrong. You can tell me, as you love to do, in the comments just how wrong I am. Or you could bid on this bike online, and you need to register to bid online. Or, as I always say, and I say it over and over again, but I say it because I mean it, come to the sale if you can. It's on Friday. We have a separate bike sale now from the car sale. So it's just us. We have a lovely day. We have fun. We have fun. It's great. People get bargains. People get money for bikes that they no longer need for whatever reason. Business is done. But we also have fun if you fancy coming down this Friday. 1979 Kawasaki Z250. 4-stroke twin, 6-speed gearbox. Yeah, what an advanced bike this was. 6-speed gearbox, disc brake, cast wheels in 1979. You could have what is, wow, this is so cheap, 1,000 to 1,500 quid. In the words of Ewan McGregor, don't tell me you're not tempted. Mind you, he doesn't need to buy bikes, Ewan, does he? He gets them for free. Yeah. I like him. I went to his birthday party. I asked him if he wanted to play Mike Aylward in a film, because I've written a script. Everybody who's a media type like me has written a script. And I've written a script about Stanley Bailey Michael. Was he Stanley Michael Bailey Aylward? Because his real name wasn't Mike, was it? It was Stan, like his dad. Anyway, I asked him if he wanted to play Mike Aylward, and he looked at me. And I said, it's the hair, isn't it? Or lack of it. Because, of course, Mike Aylward, I think the GOAT. I think the greatest of all time. You may think differently in the comments. He was a bald man, wasn't he? It was the 70s, so he rocked the comb over, but he was a bald man. Moving swiftly on, like I said, variety. Look at the variety we've already had. A classic British single, a 50cc classic Honda, a very advanced Kawasaki for the late 70s, and now this one, 1960 BMW R60. Of course, it's the Boxer Twin, the iconic Boxer Twin. Did they copy it off Douglas, the British bike builder? Possibly. But this one's shaft drive. I was going to say like they all are. Are they all shaft drive? Again, in the comments. This one's from 1960. Part of a private collection. Matching numbers, mostly complete. Will need some recommissioning. It's estimated, it says here, thanks to the research done by the people who do actual work here, not me. It's estimated that just over 20,000 of these models were built between 1956 and 1963. It's got 30 horsepower and the bike would do 90 miles an hour. Earl's forks. BMW have always had a funny thing about forks, and the irony is, of course, and I bet you knew this, they're the ones who came up with telescopic forks in the first place. So why are they so allergic to them? Because the telescopic fork is an inherently poor design. But through evolution, they've been perfected, even though they've got all kinds of inherent problems. BMW chose not to put them on lots of their bikes, even though, as I said, they invented them. 1960 BMW R60, the estimate for this, and I really like this, this has got real sort of, even though it's from 1960, it's got real sort of Great Escape vibes, hasn't it? Do you know what I mean? If you like that sort of thing. The estimate is £3,000 to £3,500. 600cc shaft-driven Boxer Twin, the definitive Boxer Twin from BMW. That's not, whoa, God blimey. That's a project, isn't it? Not in the sale, I don't think. It might be. We might come back to it later because it might be a late edition. But, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to point you. I think this has got my friend Paul Cowland written all over it. What do you reckon, Fraser? PC, if you're watching this, right, this is the machine for you. It is, as my missus, who's of North American extraction, would say, hey, honey, that little scooter is Pepto-Bismol pink, because that's how she talked. And she'd say Pepto-Bismol. But what I would say is nipple pink. Hawthorn, as it's more commonly known, which was unbelievably a standard British Leyland colour back in the 70s. So you sometimes see a Jag, can you imagine, an E-type, that colour. They called it Hawthorn. Pepto-Bismol pink, the missus would call it. It is a direct bikes. They didn't have dealerships. You bought them off the internet in the early 2000s. This one's from 2016. It's a 50cc, 4-stroke single, automatic. It's got a top box. It's got electric start. Can you imagine? This could be yours. Go on, buy it for a laugh. It'd be hilarious. No reserve. Could have some fun with that. Or you could use it as transport. The Direct Bikes 50 QT. God blimey. Anyway. Variety. I told you we've got variety. Here we go. 1992. I was thinking 80s because it's kind of is an 80s looking bike, but this is a 1992 GSX 600F. I remember performance bikes used to sort of have a go at this bike. They liked it, but it was like when you've got a mate. You know, we've all got that mate who everyone just rips the what's it out of. They were always ripping the what's it out of this poor bike. Because, of course, it's built to a price. They were very affordable at the time compared to the competition, but they weren't quite as fast and they weren't quite as quick to turn in and they weren't quite as quick to stop. They weren't quite as quick to do anything and they didn't look as good because they were built to a price, like I said, but they were cheap and they were good bikes. They were super reliable and many people did many, many, many miles on one of these. It was a precursor to the Bandit in many ways. It was a do-everything bike. It was a commute bike. It was a touring bike. It was a go for a squirt on a sunny Sunday afternoon bike. Easy for me to say. And you could relive those days. I would imagine that somebody that had one of these back then, and it was their sole means of transport, no car, just one of these, used it for everything, might whiz in and buy this bike with its 600cc four-stroke, four-cylinder engine, six-speed gearbox and chain drive. They might whiz in and buy this. Here's me thinking it's from the 80s. 92 was the first year of this bike's production. And it did have, right, get this, double overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, 87 brake horsepower, nearly 90 horsepower. So they do shift. No reserve. You could get yourself a bargain here. Now, are you a true nature's child, Fraser, and were you born to be wild? He's nodding. Not in them shorts. There's nothing wrong with a Honda Rebel. They're still making them, obviously. And the reason they're still making them, let's be honest, the Honda Rebel, they're still making them, I'll show you. I'll show you and the good people, Fraser. Is that on the seat? The oil? I think they've cleaned it. I was going to sit on it. In fact, I am going to sit on it because I'm brave. I don't care. Right. The reason they make it is because little people can ride them, especially ladies. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no good every bike having like some stratospheric. We had a sale a couple of sales ago and we had no end of 1970s and 1980s Japanese big dirt bikes. And I was climbing on them. I needed a step ladder. I needed oxygen on one Suzuki. I'm exaggerating. But, as usual, this is the Honda Rebel, a CMX 250C. It's a project bike. It's got electric start. It is, of course, a 250cc four-stroke single. There's no indication of how much brake horsepower it's got or anything like that, because that's not what this bike is about. This is the sort of bike, a review with a lad who hung around the Market Cross in some little market town that you lived in. You hang around the Market Cross wearing a cut-off denim jacket over your leather with Rush and Status Quo and Black Sabbath patches on. And when me and my mates turned up on our scooters, you used to buzz off, didn't you? It's normally us running away from people back then. And it was hard to run in them daft shoes as well, in them hush puppies. Anyway, 1985, it's a project bike. Does it run? It says it's a full project for spec. Hey, look at that. See, Honda, here's the thing. Honda can't help themselves. It worked, and because they didn't want you to die horribly, they put a disc brake on the front so the thing would actually stop as well as go. So that's not perhaps the look that people were looking for, but because it's Honda, even though it's a bit of a fun bike, I think we'd all admit that. Yeah, it works. It's a Honda. Greatest engineering in the automotive world, Honda engineering. However, the loveliest bikes in the automotive world are the ones that come from Bologna, Italia. And they make that distinctive sound. And they have Des O'Connor valves, as my mate calls them, in the engine. Desmodromic valves is what they're actually called, but he says Des O'Connor valves. I'm sure at some point that was funny, but that was a long time ago. If he's watching this. In fact, I know he will be watching this. What is this, Berry, you say? Shut up and tell us what it is. All right. I won't be able to do that. That's a contradiction in terms. But what I will do is tell you that this is a 1990 Ducati 900 SS. We have quite a few of these 900 SSs in. They are really good bikes. I've had 4. I've still got one somewhere. I've had 4 of these. They're great. They're a lot easier to live with than some other Ducatis, which are more highly strung. This one's had a life. It's done some miles. It's a funny colour, isn't it? You don't see many... What would you call this? Dubonnet? Dubonnet. Yeah. Classy. 38,000 of your English miles on the clock, which for Ducati is quite a few, but the bike is from 1990. It's had, get this, one owner. It's a one-owner bike. You know when people say that, they always say one owner bike, one owner car, as though that could only ever be a good thing. What if the owner was a maniac? What if it was me? Yeah, it's not always a good thing, but it has had one owner who obviously loved it and lavished care and attention and money on it. It looks to me, oh, it's got heated grips, I think. No, yes, no. They've just put, it says Oxford, so I automatically think heated grips. Air-cooled L-twin, not a V-twin, an L-twin. So instead of like, you know, like that, more like that, isn't it? Yeah. Not too many horsepowers, but a very friendly bike, a very rewarding bike to ride well. This was dropped off by a classic bike restorer. I think it was bought for parts. They've decided, no, it's too good. It needs to go back on the road. We've got a list of what we'll need doing to it to put it back on the road. But this bike, the 1990, goodness me, it's 35 years old. Ducati 900 SS available in our auction this Friday at Manor Park. I love these bikes. No reserve. Yeah. The 1990 Ducati 900 SS. Blade. Oh! My favourite colour scheme on the Honda Fireblade. Coffee and cream. Love it. Which year this? Is this like year 2? 94. Urban Tiger. It's funny, isn't it? All the things that are great about the Honda Fireblade, i.e. the performance of an 1100 in a bike the size of a 600/750, great looks, Honda build quality, fantastic performance, revolutionised the world of the super sports motorcycle. And the thing that we concentrate on, people like me, is what colour is it? Oh, is it Urban Tiger? Great. Very much of its time. It's got all the things you'd expect it to have. Like it's got, oh, in fact, that's a very recent edition. It's got a stubby little can. When you actually look at these bikes and they've got the standard exhaust on it, they look like they were made by Brabantia, the Italian sort of housewares company. There's this like massive bin, silver bin on the back. So you save a lot of weight, if nothing else. You make it sound better and you save a lot of weight. Braided, stainless steel braided lines, a little bit of Lucky Likey carbon fibre here, there and everywhere. The can... That's about it. Oh, well, it's got that dark screen, which has got something written on it. It might be rude. I'll cover that up, Fraser. 94 blade. We've got the docks. We've got the V5. There are 2 keys. Came to us as part of a very large collection. It's been dry stored in a private building and then transported here by the bloke that owned it. The funny thing is, can you... No, I was going to say, can you film the... Yeah, look at this. Can you film the iPad? Because you can't really get that iconic side-on view of this bike. Such Hondas are always well made, but they're not always the best looking bikes. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, did they build not only a great riding motorcycle, but a great looking motorcycle when they built the Fireblade. It's going to break my heart how much, I was going to say how much, how little this motorcycle is available for. This motorcycle, 1,000 to 1,500 pounds, which is at the same time ridiculous and fantastic. It's ridiculous because it's an iconic motorcycle. It is one of my top 25 of all time, and it's probably nudging the top 10. It should be a lot more money, but that's why it's fantastic, because it's not a lot more money. It's between £1,000 and 1,500 quid, the estimate. And that means that you've got a chance to own one much more easily than if it was the amount of money that I think it should be, which is like, put more numbers in the estimate. I think that's what it should be done, but that's not the way the world is right now. That bike is very affordable. It could be yours. You always wanted one. I wanted one. I don't want one. No more bikes for me, please. You buy it. Go on. Next to it, an iconic Kawasaki. Woof. It's a bit in your face, isn't it, Fraser? 1995 Kawasaki ZX750R. Powerful 90s sports bike. 750 inline 4. We have some of the old results, some of the old receipts. Why do we pronounce it the way we do? It's not spelt that way, is it? The English language. A source of endless confusion and mystery to me. And fascination. Somebody's had a go at rubbing that down. Somebody's been restoring this bike. It's largely original. It's not been, I nearly said something else. It's not been messed with. Say that. It looks pretty much standard. There's a hugger on it, on the back. It's got a tank protector. That's about it. Apart from that, it's as it came out of Fuji Heavy Industries, Kawasaki Motorcycles, over there in Hamamatsu. They're not in Tokyo, are they? Yeah, and of course, this is back in the days when a Japanese bike was built in Japan. Yeah. The estimate is 900 to 1,200 pounds, 1995. 30 years old, that now. Again, I always name check performance bikes because performance bikes was such a big deal. There has never been a motorcycle publication in the UK that has achieved the sort of sales and influence that Performance Bikes magazine did. They were getting up to like 135, 140,000 copies a month. No motorcycle magazine has ever sold anything like that number of magazines. And the people who wrote about these bikes back in the day rated this Kawasaki nearly as highly as they rated the Honda Fireblade. This was one of their favourites because it was so good. And now it's available to you for two halves of just about nothing, really, which is, again, great and wonderful and slightly sad at the same time. 2000 and, what's this, 13? 2003. Things are always older than I think it's only a few, no, Steve, it's not a few years. It's 20 odd years since this bike was new. ZX6R Ninja, middleweight sports bike, 650 inline 4, fuel injection, of course, by now. It's a track-focused sports bike. In other words, it's not very comfortable. Cool. Look at them pillion pegs on the back. Can you get a shot of them, Fraser? Can you imagine having to perch on the back of there? That'd be dedication, wouldn't it? Yeah. You give us a lift? Yeah, get on. Oh, I've changed my mind. I'll get an Uber. Whoa. No. It's strictly one-up fun, that one, I think. But you could have that much fun for, we estimate, 800 to 1,200 pounds. Again, this has come from the same collection as the Blade and the Ninja. Dry stored, right? So it's done. Is it digital or can I have a... It's digital, yeah, so I can't see what the mileage is on that one. But again, it's been used for a few years, but then it's been tucked away somewhere nice and dry and warm. So, you know, it hasn't rotted horribly. The estimate on that one, 800 to 1,200 pounds. Right. So somebody's prepped this for track days. It's one of those 400s that I imagine came in grey. Let me have a look. Is it in kilometres? Yeah. The speedo's in kilometres. So it's a grey bike. JDM, as they say, originally. 400cc V5 will need a plane for because it's not got one because somebody's brought it in. They've put this pattern fairing on it for track day use, and that would be something that you could do quite easily. Don't know too much about it apart from that, which is one that's got a placky tank on it as well. Did these have a plastic tank originally? I don't think they did. This all looks sort of aftermarket and track prepared, as they say. Mind you, back in Japan, it had done 36,500 kilometres before it was brought over here. Like so many of these 250s, 400s were, like so many cruisers, custom bikes. I had 3 or 4. I had a couple of VMAXs that were brought over great. It was a big deal, wasn't it? Yeah, and it was a cheap way for people to get on bikes they wouldn't have otherwise been able to afford. That could be a lot of fun as a track day bike because it's for sale with no reserve. Again, one of those bikes, a Baby Blade, a CBR 400 RR track bike, 1992, 400cc, 4-cylinder, track and road prepared. Yes, it is road legal. We've got a V5 for this one, part of a large collection, dry stored. What's it got on there? 24,000 kilometres on the clocks. It seems to be in good condition. Everything's there. This, like I say, would be a lot of fun on a track day. But because it's road registered, obviously, you could ride it there. And being 1992, you would get this on classic bike insurance. Yeah. Which is not really what I think they kind of invented classic bike insurance for. But, you know, now that it's 34 years old nearly, very few companies would deny you the ability to stick that on a nice cheapy classic policy. You're not going to use it that much, are you? Why would you want to pay the sort of policy premium that you would do if you're going to use it all the time? You're going to use it a few times a year. So you might want to think about that. When you bid online, and you need to register to bid online, or of course, when you bid live here in person at Manor Park in Leafy, Cheshire, this Friday. Have we got another one the same? I think we have. Look what I've done. I can't even work this thing. Right, this is going to be a guesstimate. I'm just going to prod. Right, so if I just prod. No, we've done that one. Keep going, keep going. Keep going. Yeah. Another one. Another Baby Blade. Looks like original panels, it says on this one. This one's got 54,000 kilometres on the clock. Quite a lot since 1988. Mind you, it's since 1988. So what is it? It's 36 years old. Wow, wow. How can this bike be 36 years old? Look how advanced it looks. Look how modern it is. Look at the tech on it. 400 4-cylinder, 4-stroke. We've got a V5 on this one. And the estimate looks to be in good condition. It's got this art aftermarket can on it. What else have we got here? HEL lines, race lines on it. Yeah, somebody's been round it and put some nice kit on it. It's got a choke, so we're on carburetors. Well, we would be, won't we? It's 1988. So the estimate on that one, £1,200 to £1,700. 1988 Honda CBR 400 RR Baby Blade. I've seen this one before, but I think it was a few sales back. Maybe somebody's decided they didn't like it and brought it back. You can do that. Buy it, take it away, go, oh, I'm not keen. Bring it back, we'll sell it again, because somebody will want it. And why wouldn't you? That is a 1973. Wow, it's early, isn't it? 1973 CB750 K3, a very original example, apart obviously from the flames on the tank. Right, can I just say something? Don't put flames on your fuel tank. You're tempting the gods. Now, I don't know if you have a belief system, but I largely subscribe. I've been raised Catholic. I now largely subscribe to the idea of the Greek gods, and they didn't like hubris. which is like false pride and all that sort of stuff. So if they saw mortals doing that, they'd punish us. And I reckon if you put flames on your fuel tank, you're tempting the gods. You are, seriously. Although, it looks pretty cool, I must admit. But like we say, this one is an original example of the K3. The CB750, the bike that changed motorcycling. The first superbike. There was a question mark in my voice there, wasn't there? That's what I was... It wasn't a statement, it was a question. Was this the first superbike? Or was the Vincent Black Shadow the first superbike? Or was the Brough Superior the first superbike? It was probably this. And the difference between a Black Shadow and a Brough Superior and a 1973 Honda CB750 K3 like this one is that unlike the other two, this one is available for very little money indeed. The estimate on that one, with its front disc, rear drum brakes, 5-speed gearbox, and of course electric start, the estimate is 1,500 quid to 2 grand. The Super Dream. Cool, look at the luggage. Look at that. You could go touring. Any bike's a touring bike. Any bike. I like that lad who goes around the world on a Honda Cub. The sort of James May / Ed China bloke. You know, one of those nicely spoken lads from somewhere in the southeast of England that you couldn't find on a map that's got 3 names. Little Mickleton on the Mire. I'm from Bury. My part of the world, places have one name. Oldham, Bury, Bolton, Leeds, Manchester, Salford. They don't have 3 names. Them lads with the like Alan Davis hair. Anyway, he does his Honda Cub thing going around the world. I love his videos. Great. He's such an adventurer and he's proved that any bike, even a Honda Cub, is a touring bike. You don't have to have a BMW GS to have fun and go touring. You could buy this, a Honda CB250N Super Dream, perfect to run or restore, it says here. 250cc, 4-stroke, twin cylinder. It runs and rides. We have panniers. Look at these. Wow. I wonder if he bought these from like JB Wheels or somewhere like that. You know. They used to be in the University complex in Manchester. It was weird. If you wanted to buy like aftermarket bits for your bike or your custom car, they were at the university. Seemed a bit odd. But anyway, what else can I tell you about this? Introduced in the late 70s, remained in production until the mid-80s, the Honda Dream Series, known, it says here, for their reliable performance and practicality. You can't do better than a Honda. My pal Nigel had one of these when we were mods. We had scooters, but he hated scooters, so he got one of these instead. He used to ride it around wearing a parka and like 2-tone strides and white socks on a Honda Super Dream. Yes, it looked strange, but he didn't care because he hated scooters. The estimate on this one, actually worth less than a scooter now, £1,000 to £1,500 for the 1980. They sold so many of them, that's kind of the problem. If they just sold a few, people would go, you know those little 250 Hondas, they're great. But they sold so many of them because they were so good. And now, there's lots of them still around and there's lots of them still cheap. £1,000 to £1,500. The 1980 Honda CB250N, not just a dream, a Super Dream. Oh yeah. Now, I like this. I do like this. You can see what they were doing here. They were like, Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. The weekend comes, the cycle hums. When they said cycle, they meant motorcycle. They also used to call them scooters. I don't know why, because it's clearly not a scooter. What this is a 1960 Honda Dominator 99 Deluxe. And everything about it screams Merca. Merca. 2-tone paintwork. The crankcase cover is painted. Everything's sort of fared in. The back end, they've tried to make it look like a Chevrolet Bel Air or something like that, or a Cadillac Eldorado. Look at this. It's got like sort of space age, well, not space age. We're not on the space age yet in 1960, kind of. We're in the jet age. Yeah, jet age bodywork. Two-tone with a lovely gold pinstripe, red and white, looks fantastic. Plenty of chrome, lots of performance from its 600cc four-stroke twin, four-speed manual gearbox, deluxe bodywork. Yeah. So this is a vertical twin. They made this bike from 56 to 62. It was based on the 500, but with an enlarged engine. And did we get lots more power? A single AMOL monoblock carburetor. Well, you can't see because they've like faded it all in to make it look like it's from the future. I love it. Fantastic. Meant for America, but here now at Manor Park in Cheshire, England, and for sale this Friday in our exclusive motorcycle sale. We used to throw the bikes in with the cars at the end, sort of a bit of an afterthought. But now we have our own day for the bike sale, and it's this Friday. We'd love you to come along. Can you believe you could own a classic like this? And it is a classic. £2,000 to £2,500. So cheap. Fantastic bike. But not as good as this one. See, I'm right salesman, me, aren't I? But never mind that one. What about this one? Look at that beauty. I mean, this is a classic, isn't it? 1959 Triumph 6T Thunderbird. Again, that name. They were like, export or die, said Sir Stafford Cripps. The greatest politician, the greatest British politician never to be Prime Minister. Sir Stafford Cripps. Discuss. I used to go in a cafe in London when I lived near the Arsenal. Not Woolwich Arsenal, Highbury, the Arsenal football ground. I used to go in the cafe where he used to dine every day, Sir Stafford Cripps, because he liked, apparently, to listen to working people talking, so he knew what the mood of the nation was. And he was the fellow that got all the motorcycle manufacturers in Britain together and said, gentlemen, we must export or die. Build bikes that Americans will buy because we need dollars. So they went, right, okay, we'll paint them all crazy colours, put loads of chrome on them and give them names. Fraser, can you just come in here and get, just to illustrate my point, look at that decal there, the Thunderbird decal. I mean, these bikes were built in Birmingham. They'd never seen a Thunderbird. What even is a Thunderbird? But they knew that that name would appeal to Americans, as would the performance of this motorcycle. Because Americans were used to like Harleys, Indians, stuff like that. Big, heavy, cruiser-type motorbikes. And here was a proper sporting motorcycle with its 650cc twin, parallel twin engine, low mileage. This is part of a private collection. It will need some recommissioning. This is the bike that Marlon Brando rode in the Wild One. But was it? It was, wasn't it? But weirdly, they took the Triumph badges on and didn't they put, and I'm remembering this, so this is where you lot get busy in the comments. They took the Triumph badges off and they put an upside down matchless badge. So instead of saying M, it said W, just so that nobody got upset and tried to sue them. But the bike was one of these in the Wild One. Get in the comments, let me know. You could be a Wild One. There's a few bits missing, not much, it's virtually all here. What a great looking bike as well. What a great looking bike. And what a sporty bike this was in its time. Nothing like it really from anybody else for the money. You could have this, our estimate reckons, £2,000 to £2,500. 59 Triumph 6T Thunderbird, matching numbers, engine and frame, everything there. It's not been messed with. I would just clean this up. I would not restore it. I'd just clean it. The patina, whatever you want to call it, is fabulous. Just get it running, get it on the road and ride it. Beezer. Hey, it's one of Rosette. Look at that. The what? The Driffield Steam Rally. The Driffield Steam Fair. Best BSA. How fantastic. There's something wonderful about that. I love those events. I like a bike show, but I do like those summer events in Britain, wherever you are, that are just on a nice bit of grass somewhere that normally isn't used for anything. And you get traction engines and blokes turning up in an old Movish Traveller and sitting next to it on a deck chair, drinking tea out of a tartan thermos flask, and then a few bikes at the end. And do you know what? I've found so many interesting motorcycles. bikes I didn't even know existed. And then you find out that the owners had it. It was his dad's bike and all, and he brings it out once a year and stuff like that. I love those events, and I shall look forward to attending them this summer, which is shaping up to be a fabulous one. The first of the A10 series, 1960, 650cc air-cooled twin, will need some recommissioning. This one's obviously been used recently. Again, a great looking bike. I'm not as keen on the Beezers as I am on the Nortons and the Triumphs. I think, but that's just me. I know some people have got like BSA tattooed on the heart for all kinds of reasons. They made some fantastic bikes. This is one of them. The estimate 2,000 to 2,500 on the 1960 BSA A10 Golden Flash. Not much needed there at all, I don't think. Another Golden Flash from 1960. But importantly, this one has got a visor on the headlight. Look at that. Again, it's like a custom car on two wheels. I mean, you only need to look at British bikes from 10, 15 years, mind you, 15 years was what the war. So, you know, most of those were like olive green and didn't have too much in the way of sort of chrome accessories on account of the fact that that would enable the Germans to see you when you were trying to either attack them or get away from them. But by 1960, we were building bikes for export that looked like this. Gold paintwork, red pinstriping, chrome inserts. Look at that beautiful badge. Just look at the style here. If you can just zoom in and get some of the tanks, some of the pinstriping, some of the chrome. Just think, Britain, 1960, was a grey, drab place. The part of the world that I come from, the industrial northwest, was usually covered in a thick blanket of soot because of all the industry that was there. Most cars were grey, black or brown. Look at this motorcycle. It looks absolutely fantastic. It looks like a rocket ship from outer space. 650cc air-cooled twin. Nothing much to do to this. Recommissioning, I can't really see what it needs. It's all there. It's all in really nice condition. It's not great. It's not Concours. It's a very good rideable example, and it's cheap. The estimate in our sale this Friday, £2,000 to £2,500 on that lovely BSA A10 Golden Flash. It's 1959. You're a young person. You're in Great Britain, the greatest nation on earth, the nation that is going to just about experience the greatest flowering of art and music and fashion and design and filmmaking that's ever been seen in the history of the whole world. Yeah, the swinging 60s. It was great in so many ways. But instead of riding one of the new parallel twin superbikes from the likes of Norton or Triumph or BSA, you choose this beauty. The Ariel Leader, a classic British. Is it a motorbike? Is it a scooter? Is it the future? Was it the future in 1959? I admire Ariel. They weren't one of the big three, obviously. So they had to compete with them. And instead of doing what some of the other smaller British manufacturers did, which was to ape the big three, Triumph, Norton, BSA, they did things differently. They made a fully faired machine with luggage, weather protection. This was, for me, a much more effective substitute for a car than a Vespa or Lambretta scooter. You've got built-in luggage. You didn't have built-in luggage on an Italian scooter. You've got much better weather protection with these close-fitting leg shields and this big screen here. And you've got, which of course you didn't have, and I'm going to come to some scooters and I'm going to say some nice things about them because I do like Italian scooters. However, I've ridden many, many thousands of miles on them, and I'm here to tell you that it's much better having a wheel that size than a bloody 10-inch wheel. 10-inch wheels on those old Italian scooters, just dangerous. It's so much more reassuring to have a proper wheel and a proper tyre on something. We've got in this sale an ST1100 Honda. And you think, oh yeah, is that where they got the idea from Ariel? To have like a fully fared-in bike that's kind of halfway to a car in some ways? Yeah. In other words, the question you're asking me is, did the Japanese motorcycle industry steal most of its best ideas from us? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Including this, the Ariel Leader, which was popular. Let's make no mistake. I mean, the competition from the Italian scooter makers was fierce. And then 59, the Mini. Yeah. But they still managed to sell quite a few of these. 250cc, two-stroke twin, 4-speed gearbox. It starts and runs. The estimate is £1,700 to £2,200 on the 1959 Ariel Leader. I don't want one, but I admire the people that built it, Ariel, for their radical, bold design and for having the balls to make it in the first place. And you might think, yeah, I want one of them to complete my collection. This might be the perfect one. It's in super condition. And it's cheap. Now, this is Ariel doing what I said they didn't do, which is building the same bike as everybody else. But in this instance, nothing wrong with that. This is an Ariel VB600, an outstanding example of the Ariel VB600, 500cc air-cooled single. So yes, it's like a BSA. We've got a pack of receipts from Dragonfly Motorcycles, who are acknowledged Ariel experts. The owner states that it runs, rides, and stops fantastic. One UK owner. One owner. Crikey, what year is it? 1952. Woo! One owner in all that time. It came to us from a classic specialist. It's in great condition. It looks fantastic. It's not Concours. It's had a paint job, obviously, at some point. But a lovely, lovely motorcycle from 1952. Wow. And the estimate, £3,000 to £4,000 on the Ariel VB600, 500cc air-cooled single, one owner. Great bike. If it wore a different badge, it'd be a lot more money. But Ariel, it's not very fashionable, you know. I don't know why. They made some great bikes, including that one. I like this. This is a bit of fun, isn't it? Come on. Again, there's some bikes, and Fraser will attest to this, that I can't stop getting on. And this is one of them. I imagine myself as a post boy in 1950s Britain. Or 1960s Britain even, like this one. They didn't change much. These would have been buzzing around every single town and city in the UK back in the day, delivering the post and, I would imagine, telegrams. You know, if you sent a telegram, say I sent a message to Paul Cowland, urgent, stop. Your bike's still in my garage, stop. Please arrange for collection, stop, or I'll throw it in the canal, stop. You know, if you sent a telegram like that to a friend, well, former friend, it would probably be delivered on a bike just like this. 125cc, two-stroke single, an unmolested bike. They're the best. I like them unmolested. Owned by the head postmaster in Chester. What a good story to go with it. When you sat on your folding chair at the Steam Fair, oh yeah, it used to belong to the head postmaster in Chester. Still in its original green registration document. I love it. 1956, 60, why do I keep saying that? I think it's older than it is. It's 65. Yeah, it's younger than me. 1965 BSA D1 Bantam GPO edition with all of that extra weight. Not exactly a flying machine, but a lot of fun. Ah, there we are. Now this is old. 100 years old nearly. Well, I say nearly. 1929 BSA S29 Sloper. And that, as Fraser will demonstrate, and I will illustrate, is because of the sloping nature of that big, huge single cylinder. Single cylinder. Yeah, single carburetor, 2 exhausts. Doesn't mean it's a single. Doesn't mean it's a twin, rather. Yeah. So it's a... We don't know too much about this, right? It says here, description coming, ... The description will come from me. It's a 1929 motorcycle. It's physically large. It's a great big piece of machinery, is this thing. Obviously, you've got an advanced retard, you've got the ignition, and you've got all sorts of stuff there. I would imagine one's a decompression lever because you've got to kick over. There's the Kickstarter. That massive single pot there. Hand shift. Is it foot clutch? No, hand clutch, hand shift. So you've got to take your hand off the handlebar, take the hand off the throttle to operate the gears. Yeah, they're tricky. I've ridden quite a few of these, literally vintage. People say vintage when they mean the 1980s. But that's the BBC and people like that. They don't know what they're talking about. Of course they don't. They're always going on about mopeds and scramblers on the BBC. Have you noticed that? 2 young men on mopeds. And you think, what were they on? Fizzies or SS50s? Were they on a Malaguti Monte or a Gorelli Tiger Cross? No, they weren't on a moped at all. Wow. It's worth it for that. Come on. I'll do it again. Awesome. That'd make people get out of your way, wouldn't it? What a great thing. Look at this box on the back. What's this for? I'm having a look. Because I can. Ah, right there. See, this is what you've got to do. If you ride one of these, you've got to take like extra bits of gearbox and stuff like that. Springs. You've got some levers there just in case they fall off or you come off or whatever. Yeah, that is a lot of spare. Imagine, right, I can't imagine you need to carry that stuff around with you, but you might. It's nearly 100 years old. The estimate is I can't believe it. The estimate's only 4,000 to 4,500 pounds. In my book, which is coming out soon, the modern motorcycle first appeared in 1923. There were 2-wheeled internal combustion engine machines before that, but the first motorcycle as we would recognise it, I reckon, was the mid-20s. By 1929, that's what BSA were building. What a brute! 4,000 to 4,500 pounds on the 1929 BSA S29 Schloper. The Honda CB 500T. 500cc twin, UK bike, matching numbers, nice example. When we say UK bike, what we could say is copied from UK bikes by Honda. Yeah, but look at it, it's brown. 1975, we talked about this. We here at Manor Park don't just sell motorcycles. You'll have seen lots of lovely shiny cars in the background. We are the Northwest's only permanent auction site dealing in classic cars and classic bikes. And they've got a lineup just over there of 3 classic cars from the 70s. One's gold, a very brash gold colour. The other one is bright orange, outspan orange. And the one on the end, we're not sure what it is. It's neither yellow nor green. I think at the time they would have called it citrine. And this is what Honda were doing in the 1970s. They were building brown motorcycles with a brown saddle. You could go to the Bike Shed Motor Show on this if you chose to. And the hipsters would love it, wouldn't they? Now, this was quite a bike in its time, the 500T. This came to us as part of a large collection which has been gathered over many years. If he saw an interesting bike and it was the right money, he bought it and he stuck it in a lovely barn, which he kept heated and air conditioned and all that. Double overhead cam on this, the CB500T. It was Honda's version of a British 500 parallel twin, but with double overhead cam and with disc brakes. So it went quicker and it actually stopped, which, to be honest, did those British bikes do that as well as this? No, but you might think that this is just the thing for you. A brown bike with a brown saddle, but it's a great, you could change that quite easily and you'd still have a fantastic bike. And 1975, it's 50 years old, half a century old. Wow. The estimate, getting ahead of myself. The estimate, 2,000. I was going to say 3. 2,000 to 2,500. Matching numbers. It was a UK bike from new. Fantastic. Hey, what about this? 1966 Honda C95 Bentley. No reserve. I found out what Bentley means the other day. It means like, I think it means, there's no direct translation, but it more or less means satisfaction. You know, like you could, as Mick Jagger, Sir Mick to you, was saying back then, and he's still saying today, despite the fact that he's 107, you could get satisfaction out of this Honda Bentley. It's relatively low mileage. It's a 155cc parallel twin. This was a UK bike with its red saddle, red paintwork, loads of chrome, big fully balanced mudguards. Are they fiberglass? They feel like fiberglass. They look like fiberglass. I think they're fiberglass. Matching numbers on this one. It starts, runs, rides okay. It has the benefit of an added screen with this chicken wire bit here. This is the sort of thing my dad used to do. My dad would think, I could do with a screen on that bike of mine. And he'd just look round or he'd find this in the street and then he'd make a bit of bar. He says, Stephen, pass me that bit of bicycle that's on the floor. And he'd make that, he'd machine it and drill them bits out. Anyway, as it says here, that is removable, as is this box on the back, which says, Charlie on the road. Now, there's a joke here about white lines, which I'm not going to do because this is a family show. However, you could have this, matching numbers, 1966, Honda C95 Bentley, no reserve. Somebody's going to take it away from our sale, potentially, here at Manor Park this Friday. And the first thing they're going to do is take that off, I would imagine. But I bet in the 8,000 or so miles that it did, 8,000, what am I talking about? It's down as 800, not 8,000. 800, yeah. It's only done 800 miles since 1966. Wow. You would have thought with that and the box that somebody was seriously commuting on this, but not. 800 odd miles. We have the V5, and the estimate is, I said that already, the estimate is there isn't one. It's no reserve. It's going to sell. Back over there. The Gilera. Now, Gilera, of course, were one of the greats of the Italian motorcycle industry and one of the greats, the all-time greats in motorcycle racing. Jeff Duke should have been Sir Jeff Duke of this locale, a lad from Newton-le-Willows, just down the road from here. The first modern motorcycle racer, and in many ways, one of the first modern sportsmen. He, of course, was the guy who was the first person to wear one-piece leathers. He had, I think he had elocution lessons. He dressed very well. He was a great-looking guy. His fame sort of transcended motorcycling, and I met him a few times towards the end of his long life. He was an absolute gentleman. He rode for Gilera very successfully. By the time this thing came along, they were part of the Piaggio group. I went on the launch of this. We had a right hoot. Back in the 90s, let me tell you, we had some fun on motorcycle launches. Most of that fun wasn't motorcycle related, and one day I'll tell that story. But I'll probably put in a book so I can get paid for telling some of those stories, because some of them involve people that are much, much more famous than me. Like James May, Jeremy Clarkson, yeah. Anyway, Gilera DNA 50, no reserve, low mileage, one owner from new. It'll be a British bike, I would imagine. 50cc twist and go two-stroke, an attempt to make something like a Moto Rumi. You might not know what one of those is. The Moto Rumi Formicino was kind of a cross between a scooter and a motorbike, and this is very much echoing that design from the 60s, the Gilera DNA. Much better built than anything cheapo that might have come out of the Far East. A lot of fun to ride. I remember on the launch, it's been stored for 22 years. I remember on the launch, they offered a free one to the person that could do the fastest lap round this little course, and it wasn't me. I've remembered that it was Mark Forsyth from Performance Magazines from 20 odd years ago who annoyingly won a free one of these because he did the fastest lap on one. But I can't remember my PIN number sometimes when I'm there at the cash machine. What's all that about? No reserve on the Gilera DNA. A cross between a motorbike and a scooter. Here is a motorised bicycle in its simplest form. The Honda PC50, one of the best, an iconic 1960s scooter. Honda built a lot of their success as a corporation upon a bike like this, which despite being very simple and very basic, would be very reliable and beautifully made. When you look round it, there's no need for it to be this colour or for there to be nice little bits of chrome here and there, like that little casting, the horn here. The Speedo's a little work of art, that is. Nippon Seki. Nippon Seki. Yeah, it optimistically goes up to 40 mile an hour. Mind you, I'm no expert on what I call wonky mopeds, but my friend Steve at B&C in Manchester, Manchester's oldest motorbike shop, he would tell you, if he was here, that this is one of the greatest wonky mopeds ever made. The estimate on this one, believe it or not, 1968 in fantastic condition, an iconic vehicle. You know, we're going to talk about vehicles, whether they be cars, trucks, bikes, scooters, whatever. This is post-war. This is one of the most important machines made anywhere in the world. And yet, you could potentially, and in fantastic condition, this one, 1968, you could potentially own this one. It's had 3 previous owners. It's ready to go. It's an original UK bike. 1,000 to 1,200 quid. Wow. Just to say you've got one. So yeah, I like the PC50 Honda. The little motorised bicycle that made Honda what they are today. Don't tell them how much you paid for it. They won't believe you anyway. A bargain for somebody. Right. We had an aerial leader over there with all its fully sort of fared-in bodywork, an attempt to make sort of a 2-wheel car. The Honda ST1100. These bikes are starting to become appreciated. My pal, everybody I know who's got one of these are part of a collection of a few bikes. Whenever we go anywhere, they always rock up on this because they're so great to ride. They are so easy to ride. They're so comfortable. They're so quick. They're so easy to live with. Loads of luggage space. The cops used these, didn't they? For years and years. When they stopped using BMWs for a while, although they do seem to be back on BMWs, the cops used the Honda ST1100. The cops all over the world. It's a very original one, this, from 1999. The mileage on it is... What's the mileage? Let me have a look. Just under 40,000 miles from new. 1100 shaft drive, factory panniers, colour-coded top box, 5-speed gearbox on this one. They almost ride themselves. That's what my mate said to me the other day, because I said to him, why is it that when you've got, we can't decide whether he's got 9 or 10 bikes, because a couple of them are in bits. We're not sure if they constitute a full motorcycle. But you know what it's like? He's like got 10 bikes. I said, why is it you always turn up on your ST1100? And he said, because they almost ride themselves. Effortless. Effortless touring. You don't need to have knobbly tyres on a motorbike to tour. You could buy this for, and here's the clincher because it's going to be super cheap, between 1,000 and 1,200 quid. Wow. Great bike. Classic. The ST1100. A Honda Vision. Wow. When was the last time you saw one of these in this condition? 1989, SA Vision. A Vision what? A Metin. I would imagine MET stands for Metropolitan. So they're basically saying, whiz around the city streets effortlessly with fantastic reliability, economy and affordability on the Honda Vision. This one looks brand blinking new, even though it's from 1989. Has somebody restored this? Has somebody gone to the trouble of restoring it? Well, it's done 2,204 miles from new. Simplicity, fuel efficiency, 35 miles an hour, but over 100 miles to a gallon of 4-star it would have done back in the day. Mind you, you would have probably put 2-star in this, wouldn't you? Anyway, it's immaculate. You won't see another one like this for all kinds of reasons that I won't go into. But if you did fancy this one, and you're never going to find another one in this country, this is museum quality. It really is. £1,250 to £1,750, the estimate, and it is only an estimate. Remember, when I give you these figures, in the actual sale, sometimes it goes a bit mental and people pay a lot more than I've said in these videos, because sometimes two people want the same bike and they don't really care. Because let's face it, compared to the cars that we sell here at Manor Park, the bikes are absolute bargains. Yeah, remember that. 1,250 to 1,750. The 89 Honda SA50 Vision Metin. That is a long name for a little bike, isn't it? Now, the classic, the C90. In lovely, is that magnolia, or has that just gone off white with the years of sunshine on there? And then this lovely, I was going to say something else, but I shall say instead, tobacco brown. Tobacco brown, yeah. Oof. That would have been on a Dulux colour chart back in the day, wouldn't it? When my mum and dad were wondering what colour paint would go with our orange and brown sofa and our orange and brown carpet. Yeah, they might have got some paint that colour for like the door frames and whatnot. 1972, very much of its time. It's done 10,500 miles from new, which is nothing because it's been around for 53 years now. 3-speed, semi-automatic, 90cc. Yeah, we got the 90. The rest of the world thinks a Honda Cub like this is a 50. We got 90. Why 90? Why? Our laws were like 50, 125, 250 back in the day, but we got a 90. Most of the people that bought these ran around on L plates forever, didn't they? Because back then you could. Now you can't. Can't run around on L plates forever like back in the day. You'd meet a librarian, wouldn't you? And they'd have one of these L plates that were older than the tyres. 1,800 to 2,300 is the estimate. It's registered as a historic vehicle. It's only ever had two owners. It's done 10,500 miles. It is one of the iconic powered machines of any kind in the history of humankind. And it could be yours this Friday in our sale. Get registering for the online bidding. Don't mess about. Get registered in plenty of time. Right. It is a Vespa GTR 125, 1970, a superb example. Sundance grips, I think I mentioned that before. We all had them. I don't know why. Why we put metal grips, which in the middle of winter would be absolutely freezing cold, we'd replace the traditional rubber ones with these metal ones because we thought they looked cool. Yeah, I like it. This one was put together like this for some sort of film or photo shoot or pop video or something like that. So it's kind of been artificially aged in places. But it's all there. It's in really good order. Decent saddle on it. You've got a spare wheel carrier inside there. You've got these leg shield extenders, mudguard bars, embellishers, badges, visor on all the accessories that give it that classic 1960s look, the swinging 60s. Yeah, but compare the price of this to, say, an original Fiat 500 or a Mini Cooper or something like that. This is available for a fraction of the cost of those vehicles. 2,200 to 2,700 is the estimate on this Vespa. It's thought to be, it says here, thought to be a 150, although on the V5 it says it's 125. So this is what we do here at Manor Park. If we've got information, we give it to you. We're not trying to hide anything from you. We're trying to tell you what we know. It says 125 on the logbook, but we think it's a 150. And we've got the V5, 2 keys for it. We reckon it'll go for about £2,500. From Vespa to Lambretta, from Piaggio. When I used to ring up the factory in Pontedera back in the day, the person who answered the phone, who was of indeterminate gender, it was like they only had one person. Big company, Piaggio. They used to go, Piaggio, like that. Bloody hell. And then in my cod Italian, which I won't do now, they'd go, Prego. And then somebody who spoke English would come on. Yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd give you a little anecdote there. Lambretta, of course, made by Innocenti. They stopped making scooters because they started making minis. Yeah, British Leyland really were responsible for the demise of the Lambretta scooter. Although, of course, SIL, Scooters India, continued to make it over there. I think they might have stopped now. It's all going to be odd with Lambretta. I saw some electric thing at the motorbike show, which I think was made in Switzerland, and it said Lambretta on that. This is a lovely old Italian-built scoot from back in the day. It's been beautifully repainted and restored. It's a 125, this one, and it was part of a small private collection. There is only 465 kilometres showing on the clocks. However, we cannot guarantee that mileage. Obviously, we've got a V5 for it. The Model D was a scooter produced by Lambretta as a replacement for the Model C. Yeah, but this isn't a D, because a D's naked. It hasn't got leg shields and all that carry on. This is an LD. Hold on. Yeah, this is an LD. It says Model D, it's an LD. LD 125 from 1957. Absolutely gorgeous. These two blue tones really complement each other. I like that. That's a bit of class there. Probably made out of, oh no, it's like aluminium. Some of these embellishers on the old scooters, they're made out of solid brass. And if you see them, they're sold by really fancy auction houses, much fancier than us. We're down to earth here at Manor Park. We call a spade a spade. But those big fancy auction houses in London, they'll sell these embellishers for scooters for thousands of pounds. Not the scooter, just the embellisher. People can be odd, can't they? You could have the whole bike, not just the embellisher, for, we reckon, it is beautiful. And like we say, it's got this figure here on the clocks, 485 kilometres. We don't know, but it's in absolutely tip-top condition and could be yours for between £3,000 and £3,500. Moving not so swiftly on, do you see what I did then? It was a bit of a dig at scooters for not being very fast, but the whole point of scooters is to get you about in an economical, reliable, comfortable way, and to not splash your lovely clothes with all the nasty dirt and oil that grubby, horrible motorbikes do. That was the point of them. And few of them did it better than this. This is the bike that I passed my motorcycle test on. A Lambretta Li Series 3, this, isn't it? 150 Special. It was my brother Neil's scooter because my Vespa was temporarily indisposed because I may or not have fiddled with it on the day of my test and incapacitated it with my idiocy, which is what actually happened. So I had to borrow my brother's, which looked very similar to this, except it was red and white. Looks great in this two-tone sort of, what are we calling that colour, Fraser? Is it taupe? Would you call that taupe? And this pale blue. I love it. It's not grey. I'm going to call it taupe. Saddle's in really good condition. Backrest, spare wheel carrier. It's on a B-reg. It's from 64, same year as me. And like me, it's a very clean example. Again, super low mileage on the clocks, 768 kilometres. Confirmation of age from the Lambretta Club of Great Britain. The Li 150 Special came to Britain in September 63 and was introduced to help cope with the demand for faster scooters. Yeah, this was the thing. The Italians thought scooters were for like nervous types and old ladies and stuff like that, and for sort of youths. And they'd be quite happy with a relatively modest performance. However, their biggest market, and it was a massive market, outside Italy was the UK. And we wanted more performance. And so that's what they gave us. And they only gave it to us. I used to be Italian scooter fans who'd never heard of the bikes that we got, 150s, 200s, bikes with disc brakes, scooters with disc brakes in the 1960s, but just for the UK market. It's in absolutely tip-top condition, this one. If you like scooters and you love Lambrettas, you won't find a better one, and it's cheap. 2,750. Oh, hold on. No, 3,750. Yeah, I thought that can't be that cheap. It's too good. 3,750 to 4,250. The 1964 Lambretta. I passed my test on one. Lambretta Li 150 Series 3. Love it. Right. I also love this. Why not? Why wouldn't you? 74 Yamaha RD250, a nice original example. 250cc, two-stroke, parallel twin, air-cooled, 5-speed gearbox. This one was imported to the UK in 2020 from, I would imagine, the United States of America. Yeah? Let's have a look. Has it got a mile per hour clock? Yes. And therefore, has it got side reflectors? That's always a giveaway, isn't it? They might have been taken off. Anyway, it was imported from the States, because if it was from Europe or from Japan, it would have kilometers. If it's from the US of A, mph, miles per hour, and miles covered on the odometer. Miles covered on this machine, it's done from new 7,645 miles, which isn't a lot because it's 50 years old. It's over 50 years old now. Fantastic bike in its time, much admired, much desired. The performance of a much bigger machine in a bike of just 250 cc's, allied to world-beating looks. Was there a better looking bike on the road back then? And they smelled great. You can't say that about too many bikes. And they sounded fabulous. You want it, don't you? I can see, I can tell. I know what you're like. 3,000. I had to make that bigger because I thought, surely that's 5. 3,250 to 3,750. 1974 Yamaha RD250. Kickstart, imported to the UK. Has it got a plate on it? Yes, it has. So it's registered here. We've got the V5, all that carry on. What a bike. Fantastic. I love it. My favourite so far. The RD250, 1974. Should go for about 3.5. You could have that for 3.5 grand. Wow. Amazing. Speaking of amazing, there'll be a lot of interest in this. This is the RD400. My dad had one. Briefly, this was yellow, Daytona yellow. This one's red. They did it red, blue, and yellow, I remember. You'll tell me, oh, by the way, blah, blah, blah. But in this one, 1980, this is towards the end of this bike's life. 1980, wow. Manufactured between 76, from 76, 1979, when it was succeeded by the Yamaha RD350LC. Yeah, I said this was right at the end. So this is one of the very last RD400s made. It must be, because it's registered 1980 and they stopped making it in 1979. It's got these expansion chambers on it. It's got aftermarket shocks to deal with the considerable performance that was offered by the twin-cylinder air-cooled 400cc unit that we have there. A fantastic bike. The owner says it start, runs and drives. We've got receipts for all sorts of work that's been done to it. It's got a Giuliani aftermarket seat. I think they were sold by a company called 24 Accessories. Do you remember them? They sold things like universal screens and universal mud flaps, but they also did a great range of fastback. Look at that. It's a two-seater, but it's a fastback two-seater. Yeah, what a thing these were. There weren't many things on the road back in 1980 that would have kept up with one of these from the lights. Not sure going around corners. I've got twin discs on the front. No, single disc on the front. The estimate on that one, there'll be a lot of interest in it. There always is when we get one of these. The estimate's between 6 and 8 grand on the 1980 RD400. If you want to buy it, come to the sale. If you can't come to the sale this Friday, register online to bid. Still in two-stroke territory, we have the bike that succeeded the RD400, the RD350 LC YPVS, Yamaha's power valve system. It's very original. It's got 4,000 kilometers on the clock since 1980. That's right. This bike is 45 years old and it's only ever covered 4,000 kilometers. Genuine example, as we say, super low mileage, one owner. It's got this rather fetching purple tinted screen. Look, you could be like Prince in Purple Rain. Instead of being on that Honda, what was he on, a Honda Silverwing? Or was he on a Honda Matic? I think he might have been on a Honda Matic, the worst bike ever made. but he was looking through a purple tinted screen. You could be on one of the best bikes ever made, an RD350LC YPVS, and looking through that purple screen, or if you don't like that, you could just put the original one back on it. When are you going to find one of these? An original, uncrashed, unbashed, great condition RD350LC YPVS, 4,000 kilometers from brand new. There will be big interest in this bike on the day, which is this Friday. And the estimate is £7,500 to £8,000. I think it'll go for more than that. Find another one with this low mileage, original like this one. Find another one. Not if you think I'm right. If you think I'm right, just agree and go, I think you're right, Steve. Or if you disagree, show me another one like that that's for sale somewhere else. Go on. Woof. Woof. 1984 Yamaha RZV 500R. It says here, 2 words, the legend. The legend, baby. 499 V4 2-stroke, part of a private collection, has had a restoration with non-original panels. This is what we do. We tell you the truth. We tell you what we know. A restoration with non-original panels. This bike has a fresh MOT. It's a nice example of, it says here, an iconic machine, and it is. 32,462 kilometers. This is an import from the land of the rising sun where it was made, where it was sold originally, because the instruments have Japanese characters on them sometimes instead of what you would expect to find in North America or in Europe. So it is an import from the place where not only was it made, Fraser, I'm afraid you're going to have to come round the rear end of this motorcycle, because I just want people to get excited when they see that arrangement of pipes coming out of the back end of this bike. Because when you fire these things up, not only do they smell great, not only do they make a demonic, crackling, cackling sound, white smoke. Like when there's a new pope, it's a glorious occasion. White smoke issues forth from these 4 pipes, promising much fun and enjoyment from what happens when you sling a leg over it, stick it in gear, and get going. And that could be you this Friday from, I think this is going to be a lot of money, and for good reason, between 13 and 15 grand. 32,000 miles on the clock, Yamaha RZV 500R. I say again 2 words, the legend. Yeah. Not a legend. Wait. But a good, honest motorcycle. Want to go touring? Can't afford 20 grand plus for a top-of-the-range BMW. Who else is touring bikes do people buy? Triumph. Adventure bikes. I was going to say KTM then. Sad that really, isn't it? Not for much longer. Want to go touring but don't have that sort of budget? Want to do it in comfort and style and at speed? Why not buy this Yamaha Phaser? 2013 Yamaha Phaser FZ S600, an outstanding example. It's done. Oof. Has it really done 80,000 miles? Well, it says it has here. 80,000 miles. Okay, that's pretty cool because it's in fantastic condition. So whoever owned this bike was a serious tourer. You can see that. They've added heated grips. They've added this luggage, monokey, Givi monokey luggage system, high quality. Doesn't look great. It's like plastic boxes, but Givi, great brand. This stuff works. Your kit won't get wet. It's lightweight, it's durable. The bike's in fantastic condition. It's a credit to its previous owner. It really is. It's cleaned up beautifully. Aftermarket pipes on there. But look at the engine. You know, you'd think 80,000 miles, all the paint will be peeling off it and it'll be all filthy, dirty and horrible down here. Nope, no such thing. This bike has been looked after by the person who obviously enjoyed doing 80,000 miles on it since 2013. It is available. Just think about it. You want to go on holiday, you want to take your significant other. You don't want to spend 20k plus, like I said, on a new adventure bike. We reckon it'll be about 1,500 quid in our sale this Friday. Yamaha FZS 600 Phaser. Ignore those big miles. Look at the condition. I hope I can convince you of that. Somebody's getting a bargain there. Honda NX 650 Dominator. A fantastic, it is a custom bike. It's an adventure bike. It's a Paris-Dakar inspired machine, but it is a custom bike in that it has been extensively modified from standard by its owner. 650cc, 4-stroke, Paris-Dakar Sand Raiders. Now, Sand Raiders, if you've not heard of it, look on YouTube. Harry Metcalf from Harry's Garage normally goes on about supercars and how fantastic they are. And his next door neighbour, a certain Mr. Clarkson, who has a TV programme all about his gardening adventures. Clarkson's Farm. That was meant to be funny, sorry. I won't do it again. Right, so Sand Raiders is an event that recreates, it tries to give amateurs some of the experience of riding in the Paris-Dakar. So what they do to stop people having horrendous high-speed accidents, which they would do if they were riding modern kit, they make them go back and ride the bikes from back in the day, which weren't as quick, and so when you inevitably fall off, you're not going as fast. That's kind of the theory. It's meant to be more fun than competitive, but it is competitive and it is difficult. Like I said, watch Harry Metcalf's videos on YouTube. They're great about him doing Sand Raiders. He's an older guy. He goes out on one of these old dirt bikes. I think it's a Yamaha XTZ. This, of course, the Honda Dominator. Massively popular bike in Europe. They didn't sell that many here. Like we say, this one has got many, many modern upgrades. Powder-coated wheels with stainless spokes, new wheel bearings, discs, overhaul calipers, new pads, new tyres, refurbished forks, yokes, new head bearings, new gaiters. The guy's basically gone through the bike, no expense spared, just hang the expense. I want it like that. I don't care how much it costs. Then for whatever reason, he's decided he doesn't want it. 38,000 kilometres it's covered since 1989. It could be yours for considerably less than it costs to build. We reckon it'll go for between £4,000 and £4,500 this Friday. It's a KTM. What happened to KTM? Yeah, they overreached themselves, didn't they? Apparently, I've read a lot about KTM in the last few months. It was their other adventures in bicycles and electric bikes. It wasn't the motorbikes that killed KTM, if indeed they are dead, because I think there's still some life in KTM, but we shall see what transpires there. Anyway, that doesn't mean that this isn't a great bike. It's from a few years back now. 2008 KTM 690 Super Mono. 4-valve, 4-stroke, single-cylinder, Akrapovic end cans. It's got good tyres. There are some tasteful modifications throughout. It's an import, but we've got the Nova certificate for it. And we reckon that this is as much supermoto as any man or indeed woman might need, I would say. And you might be able to buy it, snap it up in this sale while you can. KTMs, they might not be making any more, but you could buy this one, we reckon, for between £3,000 and £3,500. The 2008 KTM 690. 690, can you imagine that? 690 single. That is a massive cylinder. That is a big old thumper, that, isn't it? Yours between £3,000 and £3,500. Royal Enfield Continental GT. I look at these bikes and I think, wow, they're great and they look like great value. They're not expensive at all. This is a 2021 Royal Enfield Continental GT 650. Nice upgrades. It's got a screen. It's got a rack on the back here. I think that these might be aftermarket exhaust pipes. I don't think they're the standard ones. I could be wrong. Oh, it's got these lovely remote reservoir shocks on the back. Of course, it's a 650cc twin. Really, this is a bike that's been around in some form for 75 years. Wow. So it must have been good to start with, or else they wouldn't still be making it. And they are still making it. This, though, pretty much the definitive example. 650cc, 4-stroke parallel twin with a 6-speed gearbox, It does have aftermarket exhaust. It's got a full service history, 2 owners from new, and it's done nearly just under 13,000 miles. It's got an MOT till the end of this year. And would you believe it might sell the lower end of the estimate, £2,000, the upper estimate, £2,500. That would be a lot of motorcycle for your money. I've talked about variety. When was the last time you saw one of these? When was the first time you saw one of these? Was it now? Now that I'm showing it to you. A Honda VT 750S. Not a Shadow. A VT 750S. So not a custom bike, a cruiser. Somewhere between a custom bike and a muscle bike or a standard bike. In many ways, I suppose, it's Honda's Harley Sportster, isn't it? I know it's only a 750cc, but it's kind of their version of that, but done the Honda way. And so for many of us, that would mean done properly and done better. I love Harleys, but, I'm putting that out there. 5-speed manual, 750cc V-twin 4-stroke. It's had a recent MOT. It's in full working order. It's got this weird plastic box on the back. I don't understand that. If I owned it, that would be set on fire, having been removed from the motorcycle. You may want to keep it. I don't know why. Just get like a cool bag. Like David Carradine in Kung Fu. Do you remember that, Fraser? David Carradine in Kung Fu? No, because you were a young man. I remember it from the 1970s because I am old. This screen's a bit wacky as well, isn't it? It's like, dude, you've got, what's going on there? But this is what people do. They get a motorcycle, they ride it, and then they think, I'm getting buffeted. I'm going to get a screen. So they fit it, and people say, what have you put that on there for? Take that off. This bike would look super cool. And you could have it with its, what mileage did we say it's got? What? Hold on a second. 2011 Honda VT 750S, the low mileage, oh my God, I don't believe it, of Manor Park Classic is back. I get caught unawares by these low mileage bikes. Like that Honda Bandit we had, Suzuki Bandit, I'm losing my mind. Suzuki Bandit that we had last time with 1 mile, and it caught me unawares. This 2011 Honda VT 750S has done 1,000 kilometres from new. One. Yeah, Fraser's eyebrows just nearly went through the top of his head. 1,000 kilometres from new in 14 years. It's not a lot, is it? So you think 1,000 kilometres, but you got round to putting that screen in that box. We've got to make it practical. I love the stories. I like to imagine what's happened with these bikes, what life they've had. Now, that little Honda there, well, not that little, but that Honda there, bit of a custom bike. Here's something that's a lot of a custom bike. Look, shower pipe. We put this on our scooters back in the day. It's for putting it in, it's in the bathroom, isn't it? Apart from that, I get rid of that. Apart from that, this is a fantastic bit of kit. Harley-Davidson FXS TDI. Look at the name on this. It might have the longest name so far. I'll take a deep breath. 2012 Harley-Davidson FXS TDI Softail Deuce EFI. What a name, what a bike. Virtually everything aftermarket. Massive, is that a 300 back tyre? Massive back tyre. One of the few bikes that actually looks good with an offset number plate. Lots of bikes have them, very few look good. We know what you're doing with the offset number plate. You're trying to weigh what the American number plates, especially if they flip them side on, which they're allowed to do, but you're not, when they flip them, look cool. A big old school British full-size number plate on the back of a motorbike looks terrible. Stop doing it. Corbin seat. Are these Harrison? No, RST. Roland Sands? RST? I'm unfamiliar. I thought they were Harrison calipers. They're not. Go around this bike, everything. RevTech, S&S, Super Trap, Everything has been modified. The tank's original, but then again, it's been repainted. All this, that, the Cobra. Ooh, careful, Fraser, the Cobra strikes. So, this bike would have cost a ton of money to buy back in 2002. To customise it like this, that rear end, thousands of pounds for that big old rear end. I think it's a 300 tyre. Let me just have a quick look. It's a 250. There's me thinking it's a 300. It's a 250. Fraser, have you shown people the side stand? Please come around this side and show them. I'll tilt the motorcycle up so people can see it. Come on, look at that. Careful, the Cobra may strike. That is absolutely fantastic. That open primary belt, you know what that says? That says no fear. That says I don't care. It's dangerous. Yeah, I know, but I don't care. Because I don't live my life according to the same rules as everyone else. I'm an outlaw. What a bike. Look at it. Talk about personality. You'd have to be a big personality to ride a bike with this much presence. Here's my point. I'm wittering on. Massive expense, which is not reflected in this price. 7,500 to 8,500 is the estimate. And don't forget, this bike has covered since 2002 under 7,000 miles. Yeah, under 7,000 miles. Maybe there's someone for this bike. There's a bum for every bike. Maybe it's yours. 7,500 to 8,500 pounds on that fabulous. Get rid of all the grief and all the heartache of building one of these. Get rid of all the expense of building one of these. Just buy that one. We won't tell. It's 1970. The Japanese motorcycle industry is about to bury the British motorcycle industry. But they were still making some great bikes. This is the myth. This is the myth that is propagated by everyone else, but not me. That we suddenly started making rubbish bikes and all the Japanese bikes were fantastic. No, we were still making great bikes in the 70s, like this one. This is a 1970 Triumph Daytona 500, matching numbers, engine and chassis, it's all matching, it all goes together. Starts, runs and rides, we've got the owner's manual, a packet of old documents and receipts, we've got the V5. It is a stunning example. And that name, Daytona, was taken from American rider Buddy Elmore's win at the 1966 Daytona 200 at the Daytona International Speedway. I've been there. Daytona Bike Week, I would recommend to anybody. All Human Life is there, but it's one of those events where only a tiny fraction of the people who attend actually watch any of the racing. It's kind of a bit like Le Mans, or dare I say the TT. No, I don't think the TT. I think most people go to the TT. Some people go to the island and don't watch any of the racing. But Daytona, loads of people don't watch it. But that's where that name came from. Triumph's success there. You got a big old rev counter. What a well-equipped bike. Big old rev counter there. There you've got your speedo, amateur in the back there and all your idiot lights. It's only 1970. You've got a choke up here on the bars. It's got a horn. Everything goes together. Everything works. It's a lovely, usable, rideable machine. And we reckon it will sell for between £4,000 and £4,500. What a lovely thing. But not as lovely as this. I like these. I thought I was a twin cylinder man. Whether it was a Ducati, a Yamaha, a Triumph, a Norton. One cylinder, two cylinders, yeah, four cylinders, bit boring, bit lacking in character. But I thought the people at Triumph in the early 1970s, what about three cylinders? And they built this, the T150 Trident. I rode one, must have been about 25. I thought, what a great bike. Better than a Bonneville? I think it is. Which is sacrilege, I shouldn't really be saying that. 740 cc's, it's done 25,000 from new. It's a UK bike, we've got the V5 for it. Look at the condition. It's in great, usable, rideable condition. You could polish all this, but life's too short for that. Ride the bloody thing. Polish the shiny bits like the tank and stuff like that. Leave that be. Leave well alone. Let it just do its thing. That's what I'd do. You might want to do something completely different. You might say, sod that, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to make it like brand new. Fine. But to do that, you'd have to buy it. So either register in our sale this Friday or turn up on the day. We have a lovely do here. Get your cup of tea and a couple of cheese sandwiches. And if you wanted this, don't forget to register. £4,000 to £4,500 on the 73 Triumph T150 Trident. Bonneville. Look at these colours. Do you think people would buy a motorbike these colours these days? It's all in your face and like loads of advertising logos. I'm not a man for that, mate. I don't like all that. I don't like to look down and see writing on my body. Do you know what I mean? Like, eat at Joe's. If you want to pay me, right, great, I'll wear it, but nah. So I like a bike like this. Look at these colours. They're subtle, feminine almost. But back in 1972, people were a bit more adventurous when it came to this sort of thing. And so they would have loved this. A T120 Bonneville, 650, four-stroke twin, beautiful restoration, starts, runs and rides. Of course, it's a twin, and because it's a Bonneville, it has two carburetors, which is one of the distinctive features of this machine. 120 is what? Is that the 120 top speed? Why am I saying this out loud in the middle of this preview? I should have researched this bit, shouldn't I? Yeah, of course it is. What am I talking about? What a bike. Wow. Amazing. That tank is so beautiful. I mean, it's not very big and practical, but, you know, how far are you going to go? You haven't got a fairing or any weather protection. Look at the condition of this. Disc brake on the front, of course, by 1972. So, more practical, more usable. You could go two up and not worry about not being able to stop. £4,500 to £5,000 on the 1972 Triumph T120 Bonneville. I love it. That's one of the best looking tanks put on any motorcycle in the history of motorcycling. And I love those colours. Free your mind. Not everything has to be black and butch. Yeah, it's nice and beautiful. What a lovely thing this is. The 1959 Triton 5T, a very usable classic. 500cc twin-cylinder Triumph engine, Norton featherbed brake. I've got a featherbed brain, never mind a featherbed frame. Sorry about that. Beautifully put together, unlike me. It's the attention to detail on this bike is stunning. That's an overused word, but not in this case. Just look at it, just look at the details. How well finished it is. Big old drum brake on the front, probably a 4-leading shoe. It's got them exhausts on the back look loud. But I'm going around this bike, and when I'm looking at a Triton, and I've looked at a lot of them, because this is my thing, this era. I really like this era of motorcycling. I find it fascinating. Most of this was home-done engineering, and I've talked with a lot of the guys that did this originally, like Dave Deegans, people like that, the people at Rickman, the people at Gus Kuhn, the Norton dealers, all these people that were involved back in the day in supplying parts for these bikes, making parts for these bikes. It was adapting what was working on the track for the street. And the pace of change was so quick. This bike has been built to look the part, but also be a bit more practical because it's got 12-volt electrics. And unless you've lived on a daily basis with 6-volt electrics on a motorcycle, you don't know how frustrating and annoying that could be. It won't start, the headlight doesn't really work, it's like a bloody candle. You know, it's all sorts of things about 6-volt machines. When they work, they work. But with 12 volts, you've got a better chance. And that's what this bike's running on. It looks, I can't find much fault with it at all in terms of looking the part, maybe these indicators, but again, this is part of the 12-volt package that makes it a more practical proposition to actually use and to ride. 1959, it's registered, it's got a great registration number. It absolutely looks the part. It's ready to go. £4,000 to £4,500 on that Triton. Now, 1956 Triton GT. This has just arrived. We don't know too much about it. I'm not disparaging the previous bike, the one that we've just looked at. That was a lovely thing. All sorts of things about it were great. However, this is a different proposition. Look at it. The quality of the workmanship of every single component that has been placed on this motorcycle is absolutely gorgeous. Just perfection. 1996, it's registered as, so that must be when the frame was built. It says 96. We've got a D plate on the back here, which is going to put it mid-60s. What's that going to be? GFX 143D, that's going to be like 66, something like that, 66, 67. Wide line featherbed frame, the big tank on here. But look at it. Bashed in here, of course, to accommodate the bars on full lock there so that these don't come back. So as back in the day, the style was you bash the tank in like that before you painted it or before whatever you did to it so that the bars didn't foul it. The whole point of a Triton was it had to look like it was doing 100 miles an hour and it was stood still. It had to handle, it had to turn, it had to stop. It's a race bike for the road, and this one is an absolute beauty. Triumph engine, Norton frame, it's leaking petrol. You smell that petrol, Fraser? Good job we're both not. 25 years ago we would have been doing this, and I would have had a Rothmans, wouldn't he, or a Benny Hedges on the go. You would have been filming it with one hand, and you would have had a lit John Player behind your ear. Would have gone up in flames. Something's leaking a bit round here, and it's not me before you start. The estimate on this, it's a work of art. This really is a beautiful bike. I don't know, you know, again, I'm not going to go at anybody, especially not my compadre Fraser here, but I don't know if you'll be able to tell from what he's shooting just how good this is, just how lovely this bike is. An absolute corker. We don't know too much. Hagen shocks, these rear sets have obviously been made out of billet. The engine, everything. I think it's just been built. I think it's literally just been built and never run. Those clocks are either brand new or new old stock or whatever. It's showing 188 miles. Maybe it is 188 miles since this build. The estimate is £6,500 to £6,500. Nothing. Work of art. Absolute work of art. Love it. That's what I love about doing this. Every time I do this preview for Manor Park here, we have bikes that blow me away. And that today is the one that's made a real impression on me. It's just a thing of beauty. What a bike. So cheap as well. Another Super Dream. It's funny, we have something like that and then we come to this, which was just, wasn't it? It was a good, honest bike. It was a go-to-work bike. It was a ride at the weekend for fun. Strap your tent on the back here, couple of sleeping bags. Angela from accounts on the back. It's a stereotype, but, you know, I'm sticking with it. Angela from accounts on the back. Off to the Trossachs for a fortnight of fun and frolics. This bike did everything, didn't it? This is a much-loved motorcycle from the gentleman that brought it to us. He's got to that point in life where, I think it's a one-owner bike. Yeah, it is. It's a one-owner bike. He's got to that point. I've been told that there were tears when he had to part with it, and I understand that. You know, I'm not going to make fun of that at all. I understand. This guy bought this bike in 1981 and he's got to that point, which we'll all get to, where he can't ride anymore. So he's decided, instead of letting it sit there and rot, and he's looked after it wonderfully. Look at it. Look at the wheel. Look at the exhaust. It's done 13,500 miles in that time. And he's had it from new. He obviously used it to go on holiday, didn't he? That's why he put this big rack on. That's why he put the screen on. And he'll have amazing memories of this motorcycle. And what he wants to happen is for somebody else to take it on and make their own memories. £2,500 to £3,000, the one owner, 13,000 mile Honda 250N Super Dream. Lovely. Ah, over there. Walk this way. Don't show me ball patch, Fraser. Bloody hell. I'll need more than one hand to cover it up though, wouldn't I? Hold on, if I put the iPad back there, no. I'd have to have the iPad. This is the mini. It's not going to cover my ball patch. GSX-R 750M, 92. One of the bikes that started it. Performance bikes, tank protector there. In fact, I remember that, right? If you come over here, Fraser, just for a sec. I remember this being a free cover mount giveaway on Performance Bikes magazine because it's not a real tank protector. It's just like a sticker. It's a decal, really. And it was a giveaway on the front of Performance Bikes. Not in 92, I don't think. I think that would have been later. But this is one of the bikes that started our love affair, particularly our love affair. You know, the Germans to a degree, the French, Europe, not really the States, not nearly to the same extent as us. And the Japanese, no, because they didn't have these bikes. Did they have 750s? I don't think they had anything 750 or above. Hence, 250s, 400s, the bikes that came in later as grey imports sold huge numbers in the Japanese market. But really, this was for us, this was for Europe, this was for the UK. 749cc, 4-stroke, 4-cylinder. This is an original bike. It's been in storage for a few years and will need recommissioning. We've got the V5, we've got one key, and it's done. 26,500 miles from new. It's not in good condition, it's not in great condition. It's between good and great. Somewhere in between, I would say. And it's available, we reckon, for between £2,500 and £3,000. GSX-R 750M. Yeah, the thing that's making me feel old today. The fact that that bike is 33 years old. How? How has that happened? When did that happen? How did that happen? The daddy, the big lad, 94 GSX-R R1100 R1100 WR. So this was upside down forks. Great colours. That's what the lads have put on here. Great colour scheme. You bang on, boys. I've never been a massive fan of Suzuki blue and white. I'll be honest. I prefer this. It's just, it suits the bike. The bike is a big, fast, aggressive, powerful super sports motorcycle. It's got loads of road presence. And it just looks better for me in these colours. 3 owners from new. It's done. What's it done? Is it digital? It's done 30,000 miles from new. Oh no, kilometres. 30,000 kilometres from new. Ah, so it's an import. Okay. We've got the original panels. We've got a current V5C. It's a very tidy bike. Original European headlight and luggage rack provided. So, has this come in from the United States? Possibly, but we've got the European headlights and we've got the European... Oh, it's Japanese. It's American. It's an import from America. It's got DOT, which is the American equivalent of like, I don't know, DVLA or construction and use, whatever. It's an import, but we've got the V5C. It's done 30,000 miles. It's a Gixxer 1100 from 1994. And the estimate is £3,250 to £3,750. Look at this. Got an Alfa Romeo badge on it. That's not an Alfa Romeo. It's a motorbike. Yes, it is. It's a Ducati. I say, Ducati. 1098R, 2008, very highly spec'd. It's got an RS engine, carbon tank. Carbon tank? Wow, yeah. Sato Racing rear sets. Lots of carbon extras. Carbon, 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 carbon. Termagoni cans. Got Termes on your Duke, haven't you? Valid MOT, it was part of a small private collection. It's done 5,000 miles from new since 2008, which isn't a lot at all. 1098R Bayliss limited edition. I was talking about him only the other day. Troy Bayliss. I said there's only 3 people called Troy, and one of them was on Stingray. The other 2, of course, being Corsa and Bayliss. You can mix them 2 up if you don't know what you're doing. If you do know what you're doing, you might think, I'm going to grab that. It's going to be a bargain. It's only done 8,000 miles. No, 5,000 miles since 2008. And it's available for what? It's available, we reckon, for between 17 and 19,000 pounds. A lot of money, but that is a lot of bike, isn't it? That is an exotic piece of Italian art masquerading as a motorcycle for between 17 and 19,000 pounds. Speaking of Ducatis, oh, I like this. Look at this bad boy. I've just realised I know these bikes. I thought I knew that one, and I definitely know this one. This is an old pal of mine who's put these bikes in this sale. And this is a man who I know and I've looked up to for a long time. That's going to embarrass him. I've looked up to because he's from my hometown and he was, you know, having bikes like this back in the day. He always had nice bikes, and here's the thing, a meticulous man. I know the guy who owned these bikes, a meticulous man. Everything had to be just so. And that should be borne in mind if you're thinking of buying this. 2008 Ducati 1098 RS, huge build cost on this one. Huge build cost. You're thinking, when you say huge build cost, what do you mean by huge, Barry? I'll tell you. 75,000 quid. That's what we reckon. We've done the sums. Look around the bike. Look at the motorcycle. Everything is the best that was available. And like I said, I know this guy, a meticulous man, a man with money, who, if he wanted something, he just went and got it. So the suspension, the bodywork, the wheels, the brakes, the levers, the grips, the tank, everything on this motorcycle was the very best that was available at the time. You'll hear that word, built regardless of cost, and you'll think rubbish or words to that effect. Trust me, this bike, as I say again, I know the guy, this bike built without any reference to cost. The only consideration was, is it the best that's available? You could potentially buy it for, I'm dreading even looking, we reckon 27,000 to 29,000 pounds. I remember, like I said, after he bought the bike, he's put 75,000 quid into it. Wow. What a bike. I can't stop looking at it. Look at the bluing on these tyres. You could pretend that was you that did that. This guy can ride. He's always been able to ride. I remember when I was scared to talk to him. I used to go in the Ducati dealer and he used to come in and I'd think, that's so-and-so. He might be here at the sale on Friday. If he's here, but he might not be able to see these bikes go, which I would understand. He might be here, he's here. We'll have a word with him. I'll get him to tell you about these bikes. Special motorcycles. Now, you know I'm going to sit on that, don't you, Fraser? But I'm not. I might break it. A mongoose? See, I'm too old for BMX. BMX came after. I was born in 64. I'm 61 next week. Yes, I know, I don't look it. Thank you. But I'm too old for BMX. So I'm not saying it leaves me cold. I get it. I get it. What's going on here is somebody's going to see this now and go, oh my God, look at that mongoose. I've got to have it. I wanted one so much. But my mother said I had to have a rally chipper or whatever it was. A grifter. Was a grifter around? It's a mongoose from 1983. See, 1983, I was 20. 19, 20 years old. I was too old for that, wasn't I? But just a few, 10 years younger than me. this would have been the absolute dog's danglies, wouldn't it? Mongoose California from 1983, part of a show-winning collection. This isn't you, Jason Finn, is it? My pal Jason Finn, the top trial stuntman of the 1990s and still a top all-round bloke, he's got a collection of these all restored like this. And I get it. I'm not going, oh my God, how much do they want for it? I get it. Powerful nostalgia at work for people who remember these. £1,000 to £1,500 is the estimate of this fantastic mongoose, which is described by the owner as like new, and it's never been out. So there you are. And imagine people would put that in their man cave, den, or cave, wherever they are, suspend it from the ceiling perhaps on very thin steel wires, and just look at it while they listen to 1983, listen to Depeche Mode or Wham. I don't know. Right. Where's my bike? There it is. Number 31, 1989, Yamaha FZR 1000 X-Up, a modern day classic. 1000cc inline 4, super low mileage on this one, 12,623 miles. That isn't a lot since 1989. It's a UK bike with matching numbers. Bike of the decade, this was back in the 90s. This is the first big bike I rode, bigger than a 400, and it blew my tiny mind. Once you rode one of these, there was no going back. It's mostly original. We've got the V5, 2 keys. The estimate is for what was the bike of the decade. Yeah, in the 90s. The estimate, £2,000 to £2,500. Nothing. That's the bargain so far, that one, right there. There's another one somewhere. Where is it? No, that's that one. Right. Moving swiftly on. KTM. RC8R. Low mileage V-twin superbike. 1195 4-stroke, 6-speed manual. It's had 3 owners from new. It says it's low mileage. Let's have a look. 18,000 since 2011. It's got the Akrapovic exhaust somewhere. It's under here on these, isn't it? Somewhere in there. That is the end of an Akrapovic exhaust. It's been serviced and MOT'd in the last couple of months. If you know what this is and you're looking at it thinking, I'm interested in that, you know exactly what's going on here. They won't make bikes like this again. This was about as raw-boned and as visceral an experience as a V-twin, road-going, road-based, road-biased superbike would ever get. Like a Honda, more than an SP2, more, I think, than anything that Ducati were making at the time. For most people, this is too much. It's too intense. But if it's what you're after, this one's a bargain. The estimate is £6,000 to £6,500 on that low mileage 2011 KTM RC8R. I remember these. Laverda, one of the great names of Italian motorcycling, which is why they tried to bring it back in the 90s. With this bike, rare super sports bike, it is rare. Wow, this is cheap. I can't believe how cheap this is. I thought, I bet this is expensive. It's not. 668 4-stroke parallel twin. So at the same time, Yamaha were I had a TRX 850 Yamaha, and it had a parallel twin like this and a trellis frame. So it was, people said, oh, it's just a Ducati clone, but this is Laverda. Yeah, Laverda. They've got as much, much longer history in motorcycling than Ducati, who are obviously the dominant motorcycle manufacturer in Italy and in Europe, maybe the best known in Europe, the most successful when it comes to racing. But once upon a time, that was Laverda. And back in the 90s, they tried to revive Laverda with this bike. 16,500 miles from new. Like I said, it's a 700cc 4-stroke parallel twin, chain drive, 6-speed gearbox. And the Diamante was the half-fared version of this bike. But it had the same specifications. So, you know, very decent Paoli forks, Brembo brakes, Marchesini wheels, all top quality Italian kit, as you might imagine. And can you believe that the estimate on that 2 to £2,500 for nothing. For nothing. I went on the launch of that, but I'll go no further with that story because things happened on that launch and they'll all be in the book. Sometimes the great names of motorcycling come back, like Prof Superior, Laverda. Sometimes they don't, like Vincent and Velocet. And the Augusta came back, it was almost inevitable, but they did it in style and built some fantastic bikes. They're still around now, of course. I'm talking about them in the past tense. I don't know why. They're still very much around and building motorcycles. But are any as lovely as this 2010 and the Augusta F4 1000R? I don't think so, answering my own question. This one has done 12,276 miles from new. It has the 1000cc, 190 brake horsepower, 4-cylinder engine. It's got a delete kit for the pillion passenger. This is a strictly one-man or one-woman machine. We do have the seat, that's exaggerating a bit, isn't it? That's supposed to go there. And we do have the rear sets. I think these wheels are some of the best looking wheels ever fitted to a motorcycle. Absolutely stunning piece of kit, a masterpiece of Italian design and engineering. Yours in this auction potentially for between £7,000 and £7,500. Wow. What a name, what a bike, what performance, what looks. £7,000 to £7,500. Get registered. Make sure you're registered to bid online this Friday or in person here at Manor Park in Cheshire. Ducati 1098S, upgraded to the 1198 engine, Termigoni exhausts. It's got 6-speed manual, carbon wheels, carbon. Again, I think I know the owner of this. I do. I'm looking at them tyres. I definitely know the owner of this bike. Look at them tyres. Wow. Yeah, he can ride. He can ride, this fella. He's always been able to ride. But he's come to the point where he's getting rid of quite a few of his bikes and somebody's got a chance to buy a fantastic motorcycle here. Like I said, 1098 but upgraded to an 1198 V-twin motor, 6-speed manual, Termigoni exhaust, carbon wheels, Dimag carbon wheels, yeah, Dimag. Maxton suspension. Again, I've mentioned this guy. I know him. I know the guy who owns these bikes. Meticulous, no expense. He just gets the best stuff, makes it all, and finds people, and he knows people because he's been at it forever, to make it all work. And boy, did he ride his bikes. Look at that tyre. Right, anyway. 7,650 miles. A lot of those on the track, I should imagine. Since 2007, so, you know, not much more than 20. Not far off 20, getting on for 20 years old and 7,500 miles. It's not a lot, but there have been some miles done at some speed, I should imagine, in superb condition, both mechanically and aesthetically. There is a number plate on it. Well, there's a coaster for perhaps like a wine glass at the back here, masquerading as a number plate. Fraser, you got to have a look at this. Come and have a look at the number plate. You can just imagine. Sorry, it's a squeeze, but I just want people to see. Is this your motorcycle, sir? Do you know why I've stopped you? Is it related to these race tyres on these racing exhausts, or is it my number plate, officer? Well, sir, yeah. What a bike. What a guy. Great opportunity for other people, though, to benefit from the amount of work that this guy's put into these bikes that are now in our sale. And he's got to move them on. Somebody's going to get an absolute bargain. I think he's got 3 bikes in the sale, 3 or 4 bikes. People are going to get an absolute brilliant bike at a bargain price. That one, the estimate is £8,500 to £9,500 on that 2007 Ducati. Was a 1098, is an 1198, massively modified, hugely fast, looks great, sounds brilliant. What a bike. What a bike for the money. This is lovely. 1998 Ducati 900 SS final edition. They were all silver. I think they did. Did they do 200? No, because this is 269. No, Steve, they didn't do 200 because this is 269. So they definitely did 269, but it was a limited edition and they were all silver. It's a UK bike. You get a private plate, which is what? S9 DFE Ducati Final Edition. This was sold by Italia Moto Limited. The carbs are recently rebuilt. The belts were done at 7,000 miles. It's showing 7,080 miles. The starter lead is upgraded, fresh oil and filter, new tyres. Yeah, lovely bike in beautiful condition of one previous owner. Stunning example, one of the best. The estimate, £6,000 to £6,500 on the Ducati Final Edition 900 SS. Sticking with things made in Bologna that go very fast. This is another special bike. It's a Ducati 996 SPS from the first run. Engine rebuilt by the legend that is John Hackett. Öhlins front and rear, Termigoni cans, Marchesini wheels, belts, oils, plugs, battery, filters. Replaced a couple of months ago. The bike's not really been run since then. Powder coated frame. It's got a carbon fibre tank, and you can have the original because we've got that as well. This is a track-biased, track-orientated road bike, and it could be yours. I mean, it's a flying machine, isn't it? It's a rocket from outer space. Everything's been modified. Everything's been altered. At great expense, huge expense, but you could buy it for between 17, we reckon, 17 and 19,000 pounds. I'm saying it's a 1997 Ducati 996 SPS, but it's much more than that. It's a bespoke motorcycle and you can buy it for a fraction of what it cost. Get registering. You can't bid unless you register. Get online, get registering. And as I say, it'd be lovely to see you if you could spare the time and you could get yourself here. This, in other ways, is like that, a custom machine in that it's kind of been altered and modified and it's evolved to suit the owner and to win. Because, of course, it's a competition machine. It's a 1977 Suzuki Beamish RL250, road registered, thing of beauty. The thing about this is it's a trail bike, but because it's got a plate on it, you can ride it to the trail. No need for a van or a trailer. You just ride it to get there. Just boddle along until you get on the trail and you're off. It's exempt from MOT. It's exempt from road tax. It's got matching numbers. We have a certificate of originality with this machine, and the estimate is 1,800 to 2,300. I thought it'd be a lot more than that. What a lovely thing. You won't get that far on that tank of fuel though, would you? You wouldn't want to go that far, would you? That's just getting on them green lanes, riding responsibly, having a good laugh, seeing the countryside, breathing in all that fresh air, and then, you know, home in time for tea. Lovely. 1977 Suzuki Beamish RL250. 1,800 to 2,300 is the estimate. Right, we've got a red machine here. Another red machine. Yamaha TY80. That's got to be the TY80, hasn't it? Yeah. 1975, stunning example of this iconic trail bike. Owner says it runs and rides. A trial-style motorcycle produced by Yamaha from 1974 to 1984. I would guess, having had 3 kids and one of them being a lad, mind you, the difference between the unloved middle child, the name she gives herself, and the lad, she's 4'11", he's 6'4". We did have a tall window cleaner though. I would reckon this would be for about a 5, 6, 7-year-old, something like that. I've probably got that completely wrong. What are you talking about? You've got to be like 10 to ride that. Tall lad. That's the thing when you got a lad that's really, he's taller than me by the time he got to 13. Anyway, that's what I would say. 1970s to 1980s, air-cooled single. You'll buy that for between 1,500 quid and £2,000. Wow, I didn't know they were that desirable, but evidently they are. 1975 TY80. Next to it, a Honda TLR 200 Reflex. We were talking about this the other day. When you ride on trails, are you picking something that goes really, really fast? Because that's what you want to do. You want to blow out them cobwebs. You want to give it what for. Or do you want to go a bit slower on something like this and actually look at the countryside. You know the countryside? You could look at it if you weren't going that fast. If the only thing you're looking for is braking points, are you going to actually see the countryside? Well, if you had something like this, you would. Because it's old school. It's for kind of enjoying being in the great outdoors. The TLR 200 Reflex, 4-stroke, dual-purpose trials bike, 194, 4-stroke single, kickstart, air-cooled obviously, very original, 6-speed, front and rear drum brakes. So you're not going to be going that fast and you're not going to be stopping that fast. But you could have a lot of fun on that. It's all there. It's from 1986 and the estimate is £1,800 to £2,300. We're in very similar territory with this motorcycle. The Honda TLR 200, a lovely example. It's coming from the States. We have the Nova document that comes with it. 204 stroke, it can be road registered if you wanted to. It's low miles on this one, 9,460 since the 1980s. That's what it says, the 1980s. It's going to be mid-80s, isn't it, that? It's got it written all over it. Again, a lot of fun. £2,000 to £2,500 on that Honda TLR 200. Bultaco. Barry Sheene started out on a Bultaco, didn't he? I like their badge. I do like the badge on the Bultaco, that sort of thumbs up badge. There. Bultaco Simoto, made in Spain. Yes, actually made in Spain. From the days when Triumphs were made in England, Harley Davidsons were made in America, Ducatis were made in Italia, and a Bultaco was proudly made in Spain. From the day when we had Spanish motocross and trials bikes, Montesa, Osa, Bultaco. Like I said, Barry Sheene started out in a Bultaco. Went on to greatness, obviously. Nut and bolt restoration on this one. 1968 it's from. Lovely machine. Not road registered, but it starts with ease. There's no damage to the chassis, and it's got good paintwork. And it's yours, we reckon, this Friday for between £2,000 and £2,500. The 1968 Bultaco Sherpa 250. Bultaco Sherpa, that's a great name, isn't it? One of the great names in motorcycling. It makes sense as well. What's a Sherpa good at? Going up like big massive things and carrying stuff with him. That's what that's good at. Most bikes, the name doesn't make any sense, does it? I mean, what does a Ninja do? It wears black clothes and climbs in through windows and kills people. A motorbike doesn't do that, does it? I'm not going to try. What is it with the stands on these bikes? They don't half lean over. This one is a Yamaha DT100. DT100, wow. Really nice example. Very low seat height. One UK owner. The bike is ready to go. It's only done 1,000 miles from new. How does that happen? Side reflectors. It's coming from the States. We've got a V5 with it. And 3,000 reflecting the tiny mileage on it. Just over 1,000 miles. £3,000 to £3,500 on the 1981 DT100. Suzuki DR 250, no 125, not 250, don't get ahead of yourself, Barry. 1986 Suzuki DR 125S, 4-stroke dual sports bike. My pal was talking about getting one of these, but he wanted a 250. Because, like he said, you can take it anywhere. You can leave it outside the pub if you've had a few, walk home, get an Uber, go back for it the next day or whatever. You don't have to worry too much about it. They require virtually zero maintenance. You'll never wear these tyres out. They haven't got enough power. Have we got a disc or a drum? Drum brake on the front. Yeah, we're on a drum brake in 1986. Kickstarter, 6-speed gearbox, front and rear drums. A tough, durable, no-nonsense motorcycle. It's not going to set your trousers on fire. It's transport. It's like one of those big shaggy dogs, like that's just friendly and reliable and would protect you if it had to, but isn't normally aggressive. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. It's a friendly motorcycle. Yours for £1,750 to £2,250. A Suzuki DR125S. It'd be nothing to insure as well. Which these days, I was saying my mate was looking for one of these. And here is one. Oh, this is a 350. Yeah, look at the colours. Wow, very much of its time. 1993, shell suit, isn't it? I bet you could get a matching shell suit and some Travel Fox trainers or maybe British Knights trainers. You heard of them, Fraser? Travel Fox, British Knights. Is that what the young people are wearing? It's not, is it? No. They were from that time when we thought that all these crazy colours and wacky sort of graphic design was a good thing. I had paddock jackets, leathers and whatnot in these colourways. And yeah, I thought I looked pretty cool. I was wrong, but I thought that. That's what we thought back in the 90s. Don't hate us. 1,000 to 1,500. It's got low miles on it. Of course, you know it's a 4-stroke single. We've got a V5. It's come to us as part of a collection. And dual sport fun, it says here. Who am I to judge? 1,000 to 1,500 pounds. 93 Suzuki DR350. Yep, plated. For using on-the road or off-the road. That's why it said it was dual sport fun. Another example of that, but a bigger, more serious proposition, this one. The Honda XL 600R. Unrivaled torque from the big single. 595c single. Recreate one of these amazing bikes. It's got a disc brake on the front. It's done 15,880 miles since 1997, and we reckon it will sell for between 2,000 and 2,500 pounds. Yeah, good tyres on it, in generally good order. It's had wear commensurate with what it says the mileage is there, nearly 16,000, but the price is right, 2,000 to 2,500 pounds. Honda XL 600R. Twin carbs, 5-speed, twin carbs on the single. Yes, sir. They are able to respond more readily to rapid inputs of either acceleration or deceleration. 5-speed, HPI clear, 1 key. Yeah, it's got a number plate on it. It didn't indicate whether that might be an option. It's done. Is it British bike? Or has it been imported? Right, 100. Is that going to be MPH or KMH? It's KMH. Right, okay. So it's done 42,000 kilometres. Oh, quite a lot, yeah. It's been used. Paris-Dakar style. It's had a life. You could pretend that you've done all these miles and people would think, wow. What you could do is put one of those sheepskin covers. If you ever put a sheepskin cover on a bike like this, people think, oh, that dude's serious. Oh, he put some serious miles in. Yeah, just make sure your kit's all like really second-hand. Get on eBay, get all the second-hand gear, Alpinestars back in the day. Garn boots, big Garn Enduro boots. And I had a Hein Gerica Touareg 2-piece. Yeah, in crazy colours. Then with the days, recreate those days for between 2,000 and 2,500 pounds with a 2001 Honda XL 600R. Yamaha XT350. Look at that, it's physically larger than the 600 Honda, even though it's only a 350. I say only a 350. Bit of a ledge, this bike, the XT350. This is a UK bike. It's got matching numbers. There's a V5 with it. It's a road bike. You can go on road, you can go off road. Looks to be in very good order. Look at that, the saddle, which I'm sure is the original one. No rips, no tears, not too much wear on it, which would reflect the mileage. Oh, I was going to say, which would reflect the mileage. I'm expecting it to be lower. Somebody's looked after this bike. It's done 36,000 miles from new. 1993 Yam XT350, we reckon. And don't forget, there is a buyer's premium to pay on all of these machines. You can find out all the sort of checks and balances and terms and conditions and whatnot by registering to bid at Manor Park Classics. Just Google it. Dead easy to find. Or come and see us on Friday. I like that. I like this one as well. I like them all. Well, that's not true. Yamaha TW200. Yeah? Yes, TW, Adventure. Yamaha TW200, very clean and tidy example. 200cc single-cylinder 4-stroke, air-cooled, UK registered in 2024. It's had a new starter motor. The TW200 is a single-cylinder dual-sport motorcycle made since 1987. TW is short for Trailway. Yeah, they're trying to say, you're not really doing a triple backflip at Nitro Circus. You're just riding along that sort of fire trail or like country road that you're legally allowed to be on a powered two-wheeler. And you're just like enjoying life. Yeah, you're not getting extreme on anyone's ass. You're not doing that. You're just having a bit of fun on a lovely bike. It's done 36,894 kilometres from new. That's it, really? Wow. It's in great condition. I like these big, mad, chunky tyres. They're like, you could go on the beach. You know, you could go in the sand, couldn't you? If it's legal, you could do that. Can you imagine that? Riding along at the sort of water's edge on the beach with someone lovely on the back. You can, can't you? 1,800 to 2,300. Now, if you wanted to get extreme back in the day, you wanted one of these. Have you left a will? These things are serious, aren't they? Even standing next to it, it's a bit... I have ridden them. They're terrifying. In a good way. In a good way. They're awesome. Because they've not got any of like the sharp edges like smoothed off. They're all sharp edges. They're mental. 1981 Honda CR450R. This is how treasured these things are. This one's been imported from Australia. Yeah, people want these. Plastic tank, of course it's plastic tank. 448cc, two-stroke, single-cylinder mentalness, 4-speed gearbox, drum brakes. If you know what this is, you know what you're looking at. 5,250 to 5,750. That's why it's worth bringing it over from Australia. The condition is great. Fantastic. Obviously, it's full-on motocross bike. It's not a road bike. It hasn't got a plate or anything like that. It's not got, we don't know what miles it's done. You know, it's like a helicopter or something like that. You go off how many hours it's been used for, don't you? 5,250 to 5,750 on that one. The frankly scary Honda CR450R. Imported from down under, mate. I don't think I've ever seen a motorcycle in the UK that had been imported from all over the world, but not Australia. Because generally, you know, they just use them. When they finish with it, the Australians, it's done, right? But this one, great condition, could be yours this Friday. A Husqvarna. Much mentalness in this corner. It's like they've been sent down here. These bikes, these three, have been sent right down the back. They're like at school, the troublemakers that get put on the back row so that they didn't infect the rest of the class with their like bad attitude. These motorcycles have a bad attitude. In a good way. 1984 Husqvarna 500 XC. So it's a twin shock. So you can go in all the twin shock stuff, should you care to, and try and kill yourself alongside the other middle-aged lunatics who were brave enough to do that sort of thing. I had a go at it. It was terrifying. I enjoyed it. I think I had too much fun though. And I thought I might die. So I didn't do any more of it. But awesome. This one is Nova ready for road registration. So it's coming from somewhere else. It's a really nice example. It runs, rides, starts, goes, all that sort of stuff. Of course, Husqvarna, they've changed hands numerous times in recent years. But back in the day, they made all sorts of stuff, including like chainsaws, sewing machines, all that sort of things. Bought some awesome motorcycles, including this one. This one could run with the Hondas back in the day, and it could run with the Maiko, the mighty Maiko, in dinky colours, like red and yellow, but distinctly not dinky. Right, so let me tell you. The Maiko 490 Alpha 1. Two-stroke, 490cc single. Starts, runs and rides. It says here, the big Maiko 490 jumped to the front of suspension technology with its single shock, yes, single shock, Alpha suspension system. And it wasn't a surprise to find that after its success, everybody did what they did. Everybody copied them. A monster, a beautiful monster. Look at it. What a beast. 5,000 to £5,500 on the 1984 Maiko 490 Alpha 1 two-stroke trail bike. A Beta Techno 270. Now, I remember these, and the reason I remember these is because back in the day, that day being 1998, I used to work on a programme on the television. No, not that one, the other one. Top Gear Motorsport on BBC Two, with my friends and colleagues, Mr. Tiff Needle, real name Timothy, and Tony, roll your cap. Do you remember him? Tony Mason, hey, I roll my cap. He used to roll his cap. Don't even know what that is. He was a rally guy. We covered trials, and we covered the ascent and the mastery of Yorkshire's own Dougie Lampkin, riding one of these. What a man, what a machine. The estimate on this, believe it or not, this Dougie Lampkin replica, a beautiful tribute, ready to go. It's bringing back some memories. I remember being in Belgium when Dougie injured himself to a degree, and the family all gathered to decide, to make a family decision about whether he should continue. And if he wanted to win the World Championship, he had to continue with his injury. But they all got together, the big clan. What a great bunch of people, including his dad, Martin. Rest in peace. What a cracking bloke. Martin Lamp. Well, they're all good people. And his mother, what a powerful person she was, or is. They all had a big meeting and they decided he should do it. Because he's from Yorkshire. Yeah, and they're hard. So he just carried on even though he was like horribly injured and still won. Wasn't it great when Charles was on the telly and I was on the telly? The reason I'm gabbing on like this is because I can't believe how cheap it is. 1,500 to 2,000 on the 98 Beta Techno 270 Dougie Lampkin replica. You won't be able to ride like Doug, but you'll be able to look like Doug. Now, another Charles bike. This is bringing back some memories. It's a 1997 Jordi Tarrés. Of course, there were other people that were good at trials back then. And the people that were good at trials were mainly from 3 countries. A, Great Britain. B, Spain. C, Japan. It's funny the spread of trials riders around the world, because it wasn't always like that, but it was by the 90s. 3 times world champion, Jordi Tarrés. I think he went on to win many more. A beautiful tribute. The owner says, I would imagine it's come from the same person that built the Dougie replica, has built this Jordi Tarrés replica. And again, it's a 270cc, ready to ride. You won't be able to ride like him, but you'll be able to look like him riding a bike. It's a replica of his bike from 1997, the GasGas JTX 270 Jordi Tarrés replica, 1,500 to 2,000 pounds. These bikes are cheap. Look at that. It's great, doesn't it? The thing about trials is, right, it doesn't matter if you're Dougie Lampkin, Jordi Tarrés, or me, because I had to go at trials, club trials, I went around doing it. And it was great. I had great fun. Took me lad when he was a lad. Took me dad. 3 generations of us went along. I was absolutely rubbish at it, but it was super enjoyable and the people were brilliant. Absolutely. The best people I've met in motorcycling in the world of trials. And that's saying something. Cheap bikes. Lovely bikes. That one's not available in this sale. They're not all the bikes that you see on here aren't available. Some have come too late. They're in the next sale, which will be in about 5 or 6 weeks' time. Right, we're on to these bicycles now. So this one is a Raleigh Burner from 1984. Outstanding example, part of a show-winning collection, described by the owner as light new. We don't know how many miles it's got on it because it's a bicycle, and it's estimated between 1,000 and 1,500 quid. The 1984 Raleigh Team Burner. This one is an Aero, a Pro Burner. This is it, a Raleigh Aero Pro Burner, which is a lot of name for quite a little bike, but you're not telling me that doesn't look cool. Look how cool that bike is. No wonder these things were so popular back in the day and popular now. Described by the owner as light new. Again, he's getting rid of it from a collection, 1,000 to 1,500 quid on the 1983 Raleigh Aero Pro Burner. Raleigh burners all the way. 1983 Raleigh Chrome Burner. Rear hub brake conversion. Rear hub brake conversion? Oh, okay. How would that work? Oh, you pedal back, maybe. Something like that. I don't know. BMX was after me. By the time this sort of stuff was about, 83, I was, onto girls and motorbikes and Alfa Romeos and standing on a table in the middle of Manchester having it large. But if I'd been a few years earlier, I probably would have wanted one of those. Has it got plastic wheels? Yeah, it's got plastic wheels. Weird. 1,000 to 1,500 pounds, the estimate on the Chrome Burner. Rally Mag burner. Wow, this guy liked a rally burner, didn't he? And now perhaps he doesn't. So this one is a show-winning bike. Fraser, if you come round here, you can see this one's won trophies. Check it out. Best in show at the Dub Shed in 2021. Described as the owner as, in like new condition, it's got brakes. Actual brakes. Wow. The Rally Mag burner, £1,000 to £1,500 from 1983. Guess what's next, Fraser? A rally burner, you say? Correct, Amundo. But not just any rally burner. This is a rally extra burner. Yeah, there's extra burner. It's got the original toolkit, which has never been opened. There, look, there's the original toolkit that's never been opened. There, underneath the spanners, underneath the seat. Never been opened. Which means that the estimate on this 1984 Rally Extra burner, not just a burner, an extra burner, £1,000 to £1,500. I get it. For some people, that will be, I wonder if one person will potentially buy all of those bikes, because then that's like a ready-made collection, and potentially for the 5, you could be getting the 5 for like £6,000, £7,000, something like that. There are buyer's premiums to pay on the sales here at Manor Park, the only permanent motorcycle, car, and BMX classic auction house in the Northwest. It's not for me, but I totally get it. And for some people, that's it. That's it. Yeah, because it pushes all them buttons that these motorbikes press for me. It reminds them of a better time. Was it a better time? It was a time. It reminds them of a time. Not necessarily a better time, but a time. Plus, they're a lot of fun. Suzuki TS400. 2-stroke dual sport fun! Exclamation mark. I like the exclamation mark. Wow, this is in superb condition. It's like a new bike. What's going on here? It's not one of these where they put a new bike in to fool me. They do that and they don't tell me. No, believe it or not, it's done 2012. Yeah, it's only done 2,000 miles from new and it's a 1972 motorbike. So it's like 50 odd years old. Yeah, it's 50 odd years old and it's done 2,000 miles. So it is like a new motorbike. All the original stickers, original paint, the engine's in immaculate condition, cosmetically and mechanically. Yeah, it's like a brand new bike from 1972. Rebuilt to perfection, it says here. 1 UK owner, we've got the V5, 2 keys. The estimate on this lovely thing, what a great colour as well. Looks great, doesn't it? £7,500 to £8,000. 1972 Suzuki TS400. Nice, but not as nice as this. Because this is, again, it's in my top 25, this bike. Top 25 bikes of all time. I mentioned the Honda Fireblade. I think I mentioned the ST1100. And I'm going to mention this one, the Yamaha XT500. This is an XT500D from 1977. 5-speed gearbox, of course, it's a 500cc 4-speed, 4-stroke single, superb condition. They're not kidding. It is in absolutely superb condition. The bike was built by Yamaha from 75 to 89, shares its power plant with the SR500 street bike and its off-road brother, the Yamaha TT500. So it's halfway between the two of them. As we say, a dual sport bike to be enjoyed. Brilliant condition, low mileage, 22,000 on the clock. Is there any much more to tell you? It's MOT and tax exempt and all that sort of stuff because it's from 1977 and the estimate is £5,250 to £5,750. The Yamaha XT500, classic, a true classic. It's the Kettle, an iconic motorcycle. When the other Japanese manufacturers were saying it needs to be a 4-stroke, it needs to be 4-cylinder, it needs to be all kinds of things, Suzuki was saying no. It needs to be a triple and it needs to be a 750. It doesn't need to be more than that. It doesn't need to be 1,000cc because if you make it a 2-stroke, a 2-stroke, an air-cooled 2-stroke, no, said Suzuki, a water-cooled 2-stroke. Now you're talking. Nobody made a bike like this except Suzuki, and it was beautifully made. It was super quick in its time, which was the mid-1970s, which is why it's got double disc brakes on the front. This is a particularly good example, as I'm sure many of you will be able to deduce from Fraser's expert camera work as he moves around the bike, showing you just how lovely it is. Of course, it's been restored. It's got low miles. I'm going to check on that. Yeah, it's done 22,500 miles from new, which was, like I said, the mid-1970s. So it's more than 50 years old now. But for its day, very advanced, as I say. 3-cylinder, 2-stroke, water-cooled 2-stroke. What a bike. The GT750. When they said GT, it meant Grand Touring, and they meant it. It's got a Kickstarter as well. I love a bike with a Kickstarter, but also with electric start to fall back on. Because I tell you what, you don't want to be push starting one of these. That might be a bit sketch, to say the least. The estimate on that one is £9,000 to £11,000. So look at this. Again, what a lovely thing. A Suzuki T350, totally unrestored. This is an unrestored motorcycle and is virtually standard. I say virtually standard. I can't see a single thing on this motorcycle that wasn't put on it in the Suzuki factory in Japan. Yes, when Japanese motorcycles were made in Japan, as opposed to, I don't know, other places in that part of the world. As I say, totally unrestored, 350cc, 2-stroke, air-cooled, 6-speed gearbox, which was pretty advanced for the time, for 1971. Also known as the Rebel, although, of course, Honda would use that name later and with more recognition. So let's stick with T350. The mileage on it is tiny. The odometer tells us, which probably explains why this unrestored paintwork is in such good condition. 1,162 miles from brand new. It's an import. It's got the side markers on it that give that away and the mile per hour clock that tell us it was sold in the States. It was imported to the UK in 2007. Obviously, it's been registered here because there's a lovely yellow number plate with big letters on the back. And the estimate on this one, the T350, unrestored. I'm glad that the person that registered this and got it over here to the UK has left it like this, instead of just restoring it. Could do with a clean-up, obviously. But apart from that, I won't mess with it too much. £2,500 to £3,000, the 1971 Suzuki T350. Look what you could get in 1971 for your money. No wonder they all bought Japanese bikes. No wonder the British motorcycle industry is back. Yeah. T500 Titan Suzuki. I love this. Cool, what a glamorous motorcycle. And I mean glamorous in sort of sexy, exciting, expensive, not like taking your clothes off, which is kind of what glamour has come to mean in the UK for some reason. Big bike, a physically large motorcycle for a 500. It's a 500 air-cooled 2-stroke, of course. It runs and rides perfectly, starts with ease, lovingly restored by the current owner. It is completely exempt from any tax or MOT testing and has done tiny mileage, I think. Yeah, tiny mileage, 2,830 miles. And it's been fully restored. £6,500 to £6,500 on the Suzuki, the 1973 Suzuki T500 Titan. Walks this way, Fraser, and let everyone have a look at this fantastic Suzuki GT500. Or indeed, better still, this fantastic Suzuki GT550. See, I think of 550 as a Kawasaki, but this is very much a Suzuki, a GT550, a 2-stroke triple, one UK owner, genuine miles, those miles being 15,145. Electronic ignition, we've got the owner's manual, 2 keys and the V5. So just think about that. It's an air-cooled 2-stroke triple with electronic ignition, and it's got a Kickstarter. It's got electric start. This must have been quite the thing back in the day. And this is, well, find me a better example anywhere in the world. But you need don't need to go anywhere else in the world. You need to go to Manor Park on the internet and register to bid at our auction this Friday here in Leafy, Cheshire, or rock up in person. We'd love it if you did. Even if you only came to have a look at this bike and just marvel at what was available in 1972. What a thrill it must have been when Britain was like a grey, horrible, 1972, grey, horrible, nasty. Trimpoline shirts, polyester pants, flared trousers, slip-on shoes, pints of warm bitter, woodbines, horrible. But you could have had something like this. How exciting must that have been? Relive that excitement, capture a bit of that feeling by buying that for between £7,500 and £8,000 in our sale this Friday. I think that's my favourite so far, Fraser. But this might be even better. Actually, no. But it is a lovely thing in itself. It's a 504. See, I think of the 404, but the Americans got a 504. The 404 was very short-lived. I think they made it for a year. But it's the first big bike. It's the first bike that had more than one cylinder that I ever rode. So it means a lot to me. This is the 504. This is made in much bigger numbers. 500 in line 4. It's done 13,500 miles from new. 1 UK owner. We've got 2 keys. We've got the V5. It's in stunning condition. Disc brake on the front there. What I call Beatty bars. That's what I call Beatty bars, these handlebars. Because if you watch the movie Shampoo, in which Warren Beatty, the actor bloke, plays a hairdresser to the stars, those stars being lovely lady Hollywood actress stars, he smokes around on a motorcycle with bars like that. Relaxed. He's a relaxed guy. Yeah. So he rides in a relaxed position with those bars. We probably would have had lower bars or indeed sort of clip-on type bars, like on that 404 that I rode. Not the Americans. They prefer to sit upright. Wow. £6,500 to £7,000. Like it says, it is stunning. I can't stop looking at it. It's fantastic. How is it that people can put in all this work and then a bike can be available for such a modest amount of money? I don't know, but I'm very glad that that is the situation because it means that people like you can afford them, which is great. So could people in the media stop moaning about the price of classic motorcycles and admit or acknowledge that it means that a whole new load of people can come in and buy them? Here's a bike with a reputation and not a good one. And I know all about that. The 1972 Kawasaki Mark III, a very usable classic 500cc two-stroke triple. 1 UK owner. Kicks over first time. Showing 5,164 miles. We say that. That's what it's showing. We cannot 100% confirm that that's what it's done. But the condition is absolutely brilliant to say that this is a 1972 motorcycle. The Kawasaki H1D Mach 3. What a bike. These things were super, super quick in the day. I remember reading a road test and Cycle World, the American magazine, went to a drag racing strip. Now, I know that's not our thing in the UK when we test bikes. We don't go to drag racing. They went to a drag racing strip. No muscle car, no European exotic could live with one of these. It just smoked them. It just left them in a cloud of two-stroke infused white smoke as it blazed off into the distance. If you had to go around a corner, it was a different matter. But, oh, what a bike. The sound and the fury of the Kawasaki H1D Mach 3. Mark 3. Mach 3. Yeah, it's Mach 3, isn't it? Because they were getting on the whole sort of supersonic thing. And it's in Kawasaki green. Wonderful. It's got a steering damper. I can't think why. We all know why. £8,000 to £8,500. I'm not surprised. Yeah, these things do fetch really strong money. And with good reason. It's an absolute ultra classic. It's a Honda. You meet the nicest people. It's a Honda K3 750. A lovely running example from 1973. It's unregistered. That's why there's no plate on the back. Look, there's the sticker. It's done very low mileage, 9,725 miles. There is an indicator there to say, don't go over 70. So I'm thinking that this is a UK bike. However, the side markers are telling me that it's an American motorcycle. Although the Americans, of course, yeah, because it's got a Diddy space there for the number plate. So I would imagine that it's been imported from the United States. I do like these 4x4 exhausts that are on this bike. It's in great condition, which reflects the fact that it's only covered 10,000 miles in. Does a quick calculation, 52 years. Wow. What a bike. The iconic Honda CB750 in our sale this Friday. Don't miss it. Register. Don't not register and then like log on for the sale and go, just register. It'll take you 5 minutes. 6,500 is the rough estimate on this. Don't forget there is a buyer's premium to pay. All the terms and conditions and all the other stuff that you need to think about and know is available at Manor Park Classics website. Google it. I don't know where it is, just Google it. You'll find it, it's dead easy. And you'll find us dead easy this Friday from 11 o'clock British Summer Time. Don't get mixed up with GMT and British Summer Time. We're on BST now, beautiful outside. It actually rained about 10 minutes ago for the first time in about 2 months. I was quite surprised to see water falling out of the sky. Get registered, bid in our sale. As I said at the start of this preview, variety is what we're all about. We've got everything. We've got dirt bikes, we've got road bikes, we've got cruisers, we've got scooters, touring bikes, sprint bikes, race bikes. We've got the lot. So don't forget to register. And I will see you lot back here, 11 a.m. BST this coming Friday.